Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and we are live. Shout out to everyone for tuning in to today's show. And even though the Raiders are 5-8, this is crazy to say, but there is still a shot that this team gets into the playoffs with 4 wins. And we're going to talk a lot about what the Silver and Black need to do in order to either make the playoffs or you decide to just say, F it, let's tank, let's try to go and get a quarterback in the 2024 NFL Draft. So if you're looking forward to the offseason, this is going to be a perfect show for you. I'm going to do my own mock draft. We're going to look at an ESPN mock draft. We're going to talk about some of the top players that the Raiders could potentially take if the draft were to start today at number 6. But then on top of that, I'm not going to just totally ignore the fact that the Raiders do have a game on Thursday Night Football. And until that percentage chance of them not making the playoffs is at 0, we're still going to talk about the Raiders potentially winning football games. We're going to talk about the playoffs. So we're going to talk about 2024, and we're going to talk about the game on Thursday. Here's the thing, though. If anybody wants those questions, comments in hashtag Raiders or Super Chat, and then at the very, very end of today's show, I don't know if y'all remember, last week on Thursday, I talked about giving away a Raiders tattoo. Well, I actually have the 4 finalists selected. And we're going to do a duck race at the end of today's show to decide who gets themselves a free Raiders tattoo. Also, if you're feeling lucky, like, I don't know, maybe a little lucky Irish, number 13 up there, because Wild 114 balled out on Thursday, we're going to be doing a Raiders Report jersey giveaway. So right now, I'm rocking my Ira Jackson jersey, and if you want me to rock your jersey here on the Raiders Report, send on the $5 Super Chat for a chance to win a jersey. We'll do a duck race at the end of that. And then, if you want a chance to win some money, $10 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365 for a chance to win a little bit of money before the holidays. All right, Chugs, here's the question. Do you want the Raiders to draft a quarterback in round 1? Yes or no? I want to know from the entire nation that's tuned in right now. We got 250 people here live on the Raiders Report. Luis Rodriguez, you in. Jeremy's going to keep track of all the 5s. I wanted to be able to give you guys a chance that maybe don't always have a chance to get in. And some of you are like, Mitch, why the Super Chats? The Super Chats are that way we can keep track. But there might be a way if you're a die-hard OG watcher, maybe to get in. We might give 1 free spot away at the end. I'm just saying. David Taken, you in. And for the people that do want to have a chance to win a jersey, do what David Taken did and also give me a question here. I want to talk a little Raiders football. But do you want the Raiders to draft a quarterback in round 1? And I think almost every single person is saying, yes. I see Cloud, Oscar, Zalesbo, yes. Venom, yes. Patrick B has the correct answer here, which it depends. And it always depends. I'll also say this, though. No matter what, I am going to try to get a quarterback. And even if that means I got to trade up for one, I'm going to do everything in my power to try to get a QB in this year's draft. Everybody welcome in Jeremy Chugs. Oh, what is that? Is that what you do on Saturday nights? Just right there. Is that the correct height?
Let's go!
Shout out to Mr. Chugs. What's up, my guy?
Venom Sosa. You ready for it? Venom Sosa.
Oh, what's up? I got my guy Patrick B. Martin, Anonymous, Brian Wilson said go all in for Drake May or Caleb Williams. Well, we're going to be talking a lot of quarterbacks for the 2024 NFL Draft coming up here on today's show. Let's go to the first Super Chat rolling in here from Luis Rodriguez. Let's get it. Hey, man, good luck to you. Good luck to you. David Taken, would you trade Josh Jacobs, Hunter Renfrow, Ja'Cory Bennett, swap our first this year and next year to move up to number 2 overall? Yes.
I would do that before you even finish the sentence.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is this. Josh Jacobs isn't going to be on the Raiders next season. He's a free agent, and there's no reason why the Raiders should bring him back. Like, he's going to look for a contract that's 3+ years. And yes, Jacobs is still a good back, but to me, he doesn't look like even close to the same back that you saw in 2022. Yes, the offensive line has been a little bit lackluster compared to last season. Yes, the quarterback play's been bad, but just watch Jacobs run. Like, his burst is not nearly as quick as what it was. His acceleration is not nearly quite what it was. And I get like his vision. I don't know what it is exactly overall. He just doesn't look like quite the same back. Ja'Cory Bennett, his trade value right now would probably be like a 7th-round pick. Hunter Renfrow, due to his contract, not many teams are going to go out and do that. So, yeah, I mean, I would do this in a heartbeat. But also, David, taking you in. And you guys.
You know what else I would do in a heartbeat?
Let's hear it.
I'd play PrizePicks with our link, prizepicks.com/CLNS.
I'll tell you this might CLNS. I might be the most confident in my picks this Thursday Night Football that I have ever been because of how bad I anticipate this game to be. I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game, but luckily, even if it is going to be a low-scoring game, even if there isn't any points scored, I will say this, though. I'm very confident that there will be more points scored in this game than the Raiders' last game against the Minnesota Vikings. I might be going out on a little bit of a limb here, but if you want to get started, go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and make sure that you use code CLNS for a first-time deposit up to $100. And if you want to know what picks I made for this game, I feel like because I'm the hopeful fan a lot of times where I go a lot more because that's what I want to root for. I want to root for the more. Those are more entertaining football games to me. Easton Stick, though, 201.5 passing yards. I'm going to take the less on that. Aiden O'Connell at 209.5 passing yards. I'm going to take the less on that. Daniel Carlson, 1.5 field goals. Give me the more on that, Chugs. I believe that they're going to have an opportunity to kick at least 2 field goals in this game, so give me that one. Keenan Allen, less than 72.5 receiving yards. He missed today's practice, so that's yesterday they said he wasn't going to be able to practice. Dealing with an injury here. No Justin Herbert. Raiders have done a good job against number ones this season, so less. And then Devontae Adams at 68.5. Give me the more on that for the only reason of Devontae was so upset after their game against Minnesota. And the last time that Devontae left the game very angry, they tried to get him involved into the offense a little bit more. Now, sure, didn't result in a lot of production right away, but I do anticipate Devontae Adams having a better game this upcoming week. And if you want to get started, go with my picks. It's prizepicks.com/CLNS. Make sure you use code CLNS. All right, Chuggy Bowl, let's talk about the confidence level in the Raiders beating the Chargers. Scale it 1 to 10 because the Raiders are actually the favorites in this game.
And it's one of those games where it's like, you don't know. You got Easton Stick. You got the Raiders coming off arguably their worst offensive game of the season.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I mean, we'll see what ends up happening in this football game here. I'm confident. This is the game that I'm going to be the most confident that the Raiders win. Like, if the Raiders lose against the Chargers, they're not going to win another game the rest of the season. I don't see how I could have the confidence that they're going to be able to beat Kansas City, that they're going to be able to beat Indianapolis, or that they're going to be able to take down the Denver Broncos.
If they could win one game this year, I actually hope it would be the Kansas City game.
I would love for the Raiders to beat the Chiefs on Christmas. Are you kidding me?
I would sell the rest of the games throughout the season. I would rather the Raiders lose against the Chargers and the Broncos, but beat the Chiefs on Christmas.
Like, if you told me the Raiders beating Kansas City was the reason maybe why they didn't have home field advantage in the playoffs, or if maybe the Raiders beating the Broncos Week 18 is the reason why Denver doesn't make it into the playoffs, I understand that people always want to have the better draft pick, and obviously that's the best thing for the Raiders, but I am also a guy that likes to live in the moment, and I already know that if it's Week 18 or on Christmas Day and we're sitting there watching that game, I'm rooting for the Raiders to win.
I don't even celebrate Christmas, but nothing would make this Christmas as special to me than seeing Patrick Mahomes cry and throw a temper tantrum on the sidelines.
Another one.
And then 2 days have to walk it back because he watched the film and realized, oh, he was actually in the wrong.
He was actually in the wrong. We'll see if he...
How dare you call a penalty that my wide receiver actually committed?
How dare... I mean, again, we talked about it yesterday. He had the opportunity to do the mature thing, which the mature thing would have been, or maybe not the mature thing, the right thing would have been to say, you know what, that was on my wide receiver. Like, he's done a phenomenal job the entire season, which I think is why people have so much respect for him, because his receivers have been terrible this entire year.
He took the easy way out, which the easiest way out is to blame somebody not on your team, the refs. That is, in any situation in sports, the easiest way out is saying, you know what, we got screwed by the refs. Rather than saying, our wide receivers suck.
Hey, I don't disagree with you, my guy. Also, We got two people in, Luis Rodriguez, Nico Laz.
As Nico Laz would say, the receivers for the Chiefs are ass-tastic.
Ass-tastic. Here's the thing, though.
He uses it in a bad way.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's pretty good. No, I'm just kidding. We also have another duck race that we're going to have to do today, and it is Put Me in the Race versus Marshall. So Rebels already put his $10 in.
Do we do that before we even start?
Rebels already put his $10 in. So Marsh, it's your call, man. This is going to settle it. This is going to settle it. I don't know how it's going to go down. Rebels already put his 10 in. He wants it.
I thought we were doing 20. I'm in for
10? Okay.
I'm in.
Marshall said he's in for 10.
I'm addicted to duck races.
I'm addicted to duck races. Also, I see a super chat here from John Rodriguez, which says, I don't have a problem trading Devontae Adams for high picks. I think it's, what are the high picks? Like, to me, the way that I would evaluate Devontae Adams and his value to this team, because the Raiders are going to they've already paid him for 2024. So whatever team Devontae goes to, he's going to go to that team, and that team doesn't have to pay Devontae. They're getting Devontae Adams for free. And if you're wondering what this giant worm is in the dirt, that's Marshall's arm. This is like, what's that movie where the worms come out of the ground? Tremors? You don't know what I'm talking about? The Gabagoo? I think it's called Tremors or something like that. Anyway.
Hold on.
If a team offered me 2 first-round picks for Devontae Adams and I was able to use those 2 first-round picks to go up and get the quarterback that I desperately need, you'd have to consider it. Like, I will say, if the Raiders lose their next 4 games, they won't need to do that to me. They won't need to do that to me.
Standing in the red corner.
Marshall Green is in. Oh, God.
Standing in the red corner, standing at 5'10".
This is my lunch money. This is my lunch money. Right?
All right.
From Gabagoo, Texas, Marshall Green.
I'm also looking at Marshall's Venmo balance, and there is literally a penny.
I don't understand how.
And in the orange
There
corner,
is a penny in his Venmo balance. A Rebel, he needs this.
coming from the Silver and Black Hills.
See my prosperity account.
You might know him as a lot of things, but we call him Rebel Montana.
Rebel Montana.
All right, here we go. So the winner of this race gets $20. And not only that, bragging rights. Marshall won yesterday's race. Rebel won last week's race.
Who you got?
Best of 3. Who you got?
M for Marshall, R for Rebel. Let me know in the chat. Who
I
you got?
think G for Green, R for Rebel. That might make more sense considering what's on screen. But hey, what do I know? Here we go. Let us know who you got. I mean, I gotta go with Rebel. I gotta go with Rebel here.
Me too. I'm going with Rebel.
Juan Hernandez gonna roll with Rebel. Raider Outlaw says the green. Oh, all right. Rebel 365 from Patrick B. Ron Raspberry Rebel. L. Allie Barefoot. Gonna go with Rebel Montana Tadashi. Jeff Garcia.
Cast your vote. Cast your vote.
Steven Hansen's gonna roll with the green. All right, here we go. Starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's get it going. Winner gets $20. Green's out to the lead. Get out of the way.
Here we go.
There's too many horses in this race.
Here we go. Get on your
Rebel
horse.
on the lead.
Already a switch spots
Rebel
here.
takes the lead.
I'll tell you what, though. Green right here looks like he's in a pretty good spot. Winner's going to get $20 in this horse race. Yeah, I don't. They both look the exact same, so I'm not really sure what to happen here.
Marshall.
If you want to get in another duck race, remember, $5 super, $10 Venmo. 23 seconds to go. This will settle it all.
Oh!
1 versus 1. Come on, Rebel.
Rebel's coming.
Rebel Montana, Marshall Green. This is going to come down to it.
Oh,
This is going to come down to the final stint. 6, 5. I think Marshall. Come on, Rebel. Come on, Rebel. Rebel Montana. What a comeback. Oh, look at that little skip. Oh, that was electric.
Oh, Marshall
That was
thought.
electric.
Marshall
I thought you had it too. I really did.
He hit the Nas.
Wow.
Rebel hit the Nas.
And that's going to settle it.
Oh,
Winner.
my goodness.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. M. Bossy said, what are we doing here? You know
Go
what? Sometimes,
home, Marshall.
sometimes you just got to settle an old debate.
Go home, Marshall.
A lot of go home marshes. Rebel, can you please confirm down below that you just won $20? I'll tell you what, that's an unbelievable race. That's one of the greatest races we've ever done. All right, man, we got 373 people here live on the Raiders Report. Shout out to all y'all for tuning in to today's show. What we're going to get into now is we're about to get into an ESPN mock draft reaction. We're also going to look at some of the top picks or players that I want the Raiders to look at if they were to finish the season at number 6 in the NFL draft. Then I did my very first Raiders mock draft. I had enough people ask me, Mitch, I want to know what you would do for the Raiders if the draft were to start today. So that's what you're going to see. And then you're going to get a Thursday night football preview. And as always, if you want to get those questions, comments in the show, hashtag Raiders or Super Chat. So what we're going to do first is, first one we're going to get into is the latest news and rumors. And again, if you're feeling lucky, if you want a chance to win a Raiders Report jersey, $5 Super Chat to get in for a chance to win. Right now, Luis, David Taken are the only two that are in. And then if you want a chance to win some money at the end of the show, $10 Venmo. We will settle all of these the way that you just watched that race between Marshall and Rebel. So if you're like, you know what, man, shit, that was fun to watch, try to get in. Good luck to you. Luis says, golden idea, 1v1 horse races. I want Nico Laz. Hey, we might be able to do, I will say this. We're going to do something like that in March. I have this giant idea to do like a March Madness Raiders Report winner-take-all type of tournament. It's going to be fun, and it's going to be the whole month of March, and we're going to do a lot of 1v1 races. 1v1 is insane, Tommy. I'm with you. 1v1 is where it's at. 1v1 is where it's at. I am almost ready. Let me get my spot here in my script, and then I should be ready to go. Also, after beating the Raiders, Nick Mullins is now the starting quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. So there you go. All right, y'all, coming up right now, let's talk a little mock draft. Let's talk about some of the players that I think makes the most sense for the Raiders to go out and try to target during the 2024 NFL Draft. Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report. And coming up on today's show, as it stands right now, the Raiders have the 6th overall pick in the 2024 NFL Draft. So I'm going to tell you my top 10 players that I would have on my big board for the silver and black. Then, on the end of that episode, I'm going to show you an ESPN mock draft reaction. ESPN sat down and projected the first 32 picks, find out who the Raiders took, and find out what I thought about it. So as it stands right now, at the moment that I am making this video, the current 2024 NFL draft order is as follows. The Chicago Bears have the number 1 overall pick via the Carolina Panthers. At number 2, it's the Patriots. 3, Cardinals. 4, Commanders. Bears at number 5. And then there's our Las Vegas Raiders at 6. Jets, Giants, Titans, Chargers is how it is all rounded out with all 5-8 records, which is kind of crazy because the Raiders were at pick number 8, but after the Titans won a Monday Night Football and after the Giants won a Monday Night Football, this now puts Las Vegas at number 6. So coming up here is going to be my big board, and I have these players ranked from 10 all the way down to 1, and these rankings are based on how I think they fit with the Raiders on top of the Raiders' needs. Like, the rankings that you're going to see are not how I would rank them if in terms of NFL draft prospects. This show is about the Raiders. This show is about making this team better, and this big board is solely based on what the Raiders should do at pick number 6. If you're the Raider fan and you're like, Mitch, I already want to start talking about the offseason. I get it, man. Hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications. We're going to be doing NFL draft coverage for the rest of this season and all of 2024 leading up to the draft. But if you're also the Raider fan that's like, No, man, this team still has a chance to make the playoffs. Guess what? For those of you watching this live right now, we're going to do a Thursday Night Football preview, and we're going to still do watch parties for every single Raiders game for the remainder of the season. All right, let's get in now to my current big board. Coming in here at number 10, I'm going to go with the cornerback position, Kool-Aid McKinstry. And if you want to talk about a cool name, I definitely subscribe to if you have a really sick name, there's a chance that you're going to be a good player, and he's going to roll in here at number 10. Let's go to number 9 here. I'm going to go with the interior defensive tackle out of Illinois, Newton. He's probably the best DT in this draft, and I actually don't have him as a top 10 overall prospect. But when I look at this Raiders defense, there's a lot of good to actually be happy and excited about. But DT is definitely an area that we need to be able to go out and improve in. My number 1 corner in this year's draft is Nate Wiggins, corner out of Clemson. And I like McKinstry. I think McKinstry might actually be a better athlete. Wiggins, to me, is the better overall corner, but he is rolling in here at number 8. Let's go to number 7 now. I'm going to go Dallas Turner, edge rusher, outside linebacker. If the Raiders really want to continue to, grow Malcolm Koonce, I think Dallas Turner, Malcolm Koonce, you put Tyree Wilson on the interior, you let Maxx Crosby cook. I'll tell you what, man, that's a hell of a defense that I'd be really interested to see how that turns out. Let's now go back to the offensive side of the football. And Joe Alt, offensive tackle for Notre Dame. I'm not really sitting up here saying that the Raiders need a left tackle, but to me, there's certain players that this team needs to go out and value. And with the injuries that Colton Miller has kind of, been racking up here a little bit, Miller also has some experience playing right tackle when Jermaine Illuminor is set to hit free agency. It could be an interesting idea. Maybe you draft Joe Alt, make him your long-term left tackle, and then you kick over Colt Miller to the right tackle spot. To me, if you do that, you have one of the better tackle duos in the NFL. Now, before I get into my top 5 prospects that I'd want the Raiders to draft at number 6, do you want the Raiders to draft a QB in round 1? Because here's just the cold, hard fact. 90% of the draft conversation that's going to be this offseason is going to be around the Raiders potentially drafting a QB. And if you want the Raiders to draft a quarterback, because I see a lot of yeses right now, I think you're really going to like my top 5 players here. Let's go to number 5 on my list for big board at number 6. I'm just going to call him Olu, and I am a Penn Stater because that's the nickname that they go with because, as you can see, the name's not the easiest to pronounce. He is the number 1 offensive tackle in this year's draft, and he kind of reminds me of Penei Sewell in terms of how confident I am that this guy's going to be an absolute stud at the NFL level. Let's go to number 4 here, Marvin Harrison Jr. Let's get one thing straight. To me, Marvin Harrison Jr. might be the best overall prospect in this year's draft. The only reason that he is number 4 on my big board is because, as it stands right now, the Raiders don't need a receiver. As it stands right now, you got Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, Hunter Renfrow, Trey Tucker, all under contract next season. And spoiler alert, the players that you're about to see are going to be, in fact, all quarterbacks. Now, support for today's show is rolling in here from WaterBoy, and oftentimes people ask Chugs and I when we meet him in person, how the hell do you guys bounce back so quickly the next day after a watch party, after a Thirsty Thursday showdown? I tell people all the time, there's nothing wrong with doing things that are actually good for your body once in a while, and WaterBoy is an absolute game changer. So if you haven't already gotten started with them, go try them out, waterboy.com/chatsports for 15% off. WaterBoy is a hydration powder scientifically formulated to cut your hangover time in half. There are other hydration packs on the market, but nothing comes anywhere close to fighting those Sunday scaries like WaterBoy. With 0 sugar and over 3 times the electrolytes of Liquid IV, your hangover will stand no chance. Unlike their competitors, WaterBoy has added ingredients beyond just hydration to help with nausea, anxiety, and fatigue. We all know that hydration alone isn't enough to help after that bender that you just had in Vegas. And for a limited time, our listeners here at the Raiders Report are going to get 15% off your entire order at waterboy.com/chatsports. Wake up Friday, Monday, heck, I don't care what day it is after a Raiders watch party. I know that that's not easy, and sometimes I need a little extra pep in my step, especially to do this show. So go to waterboy.com/chatsports. That link's going to be available to y'all down in the comments and in the description of today's show. You guys ready? Coming in here at number 3. I'm all on board, man. I'm all on board the Jaden Daniels hype train, quarterback out of LSU, winner of the Heisman Trophy. This guy is, every time he steps on the field, he's been the most athletic player out there. He's been able to improve. He's had to overcome a lot of stuff, and I actually believe if the Raiders do end up keeping Antonio Pierce at head coach, the quarterback that is most likely to be under center for the Silver and Black is Jaden Daniels, who has a very good relationship. In fact, Daniels shouted out Antonio Pierce at his Heisman ceremony. I got Aiden O'Connell right last offseason with Josh McDaniels, and I'm pretty confident that I'd get this one right as well. Let's go to number 2 here, and I'm a little bit lower on Caleb Williams than most people because I don't have him as the number 1 overall quarterback in the 2024 NFL Draft. Is Caleb Williams the most gifted quarterback in this year's class? Yes. Does he have the highest ceiling? Yes, he does, but I'm just being honest with you. I know what the nation is. I know how tough of a fan base this is, and I don't know if he has the mental toughness to be a great NFL quarterback at times. I don't know if he has the mental toughness to deal with the nation. The quarterback to me that is the most mentally tough, and when you add that with the overall talent, to me, Drake May is Justin Herbert, Aaron Rodgers coming out of college in terms of overall talent, overall mental makeup, and that is why Drake May is the number 1 player that I would want the Las Vegas Raiders to draft if somehow he was available at 6, but I'll be real with you. I think Jaden Daniels will probably be there at 6, or you might have to trade up to like number 4. If you want Caleb Williams or Drake May, you got to trade up to 1 or 2. And if you want to trade up to 1 or 2, you're either giving up 2 first-round picks and then some, or you got to trade away a guy like Devontae Adams. And to me, the Raiders have to draft a franchise quarterback in 2024. Even if that means you giving up a lot of draft capital, because the last time I checked, until I see a first-round pick worth a damn, people are like, oh, Mitch, you can't give up all those first-round picks. Imagine if I would have told you I could trade Cleveland Ferrell, Josh Jacobs, Jonathan Abram, Henry Ruggs, Damon Arnett, Alex Leatherwood, Tyree Wilson. I mean, I'm going to do it in a heartbeat. But I'm so serious about trading talent. If I got to move on from Devontae Adams to get a franchise guy like a Caleb Williams or Drake May, I'll do it. The only player that will never be traded on the Raiders, at least this offseason, is number 98, Maxx Crosby. That's the only guy that they will never trade. Coming up next here on the Raiders Report, let's look at an ESPN mock draft reaction. So I figured what I would do on this show, because of all the hype around the Raiders being at number 6 right now, is I would tell you my top 10 prospects if the draft were to be today. And here's the thing, that list is going to change because I'm going to get more time in the offseason to do extra homework. I'm going to get more time to watch some tape, to watch these players. There's going to be players that leave for free agency. There's going to be a lot of different top 10s that are out there, so don't hold me to just that one. But I wanted to give you my mindset, and then I also wanted to give you a different mindset and give my reaction on it, which is what we're going to have here now with this ESPN mock draft. So the rules of this mock draft are as follows. As for the draft order, we used ESPN's Football Power Index, FPI, which projects when each team might be picking based on simulations of the rest of the season through Week 14 Sunday games. That means the Bears, via the 1-win Panthers, pick first. It's one of 3 selections that has already been traded, along with Houston's pick going to Arizona and Cleveland's pick headed to Houston. I did not project any additional trades just yet, though. So essentially what they're telling you is this. They're looking at the remainder of the season for all 32 teams, and they're trying to project what that draft order is going to be. So where they had the Raiders end up finishing here is at pick number 7. So they believe that teams like the New York Giants, the Washington Commanders, the Tennessee Titans are going to be worse than the Raiders at the end of the season, which is why they're at 7. So before I tell you who ESPN projected the Silver and Black to pick at 7, I got to show you what their top 6 picks are, right? At number 1, going off the board here to the Chicago Bears, Caleb Williams, quarterback out of USC. The New England Patriots, Drake May out of North Carolina, and I'm pretty sure I just saw Rolly put a hole through the table. Marvin Harrison Jr., he's going to go to the Arizona Cardinals, wide receiver out of Ohio State. Jaden Daniels at number 4, which I told y'all he's going to continue to rise up that board, and after the NFL Combine, I don't think it's impossible to think that he goes number 4. The problem is, I don't know if the Giants are going to be able to do it because of Daniel Jones' massive contract that he still has. At number 5, it's Olu, the Washington Commanders. They take him, offensive tackle out of Penn State. And then Dallas Turner, edge rusher from Bama, is going to the Tennessee Titans. So my question to you is this. We're on the board, and usually I know who the head coach is. Usually I know who the general manager is. But let's just say it's you, me, Chugs. We're in the Raiders' war room. We're in the draft room, and it's our time to pick. If those were the top 6 picks, honestly, I'd probably ask to trade down. But hey, Who would be your next pick here at 7? I started this show saying I want a quarterback, right? That's what I want. I wanted a QB. And ESPN, they did exactly that. With the 7th pick in the ESPN mock draft, the Las Vegas Raiders have selected Michigan Wolverines quarterback J.J. McCarthy. Now, McCarthy is one of the most all-time winningest college football QBs out there. He's been able to take down Ohio State. He's had to deal with a lot of drama, and I do think that that's the impressive things that I've seen out of McCarthy. He's been able to show that he's a good leader when there's a lot of distractions going on, and here's the thing. I can't look into the future, but I'm going to guess somewhere down the road that there's going to be some drama around the Raiders because it just seems like there always is. This season, for Michigan, 74.2% completion percentage, 2,630 yards, 19 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He has been a proven winner, but is that going to translate to the NFL game? What'd you say? Heavy run game there with the Michigan Wolverines. I know some of y'all are going to be like, well, what if we get Jim Harbaugh? I'll tell you my opinion here in just a second on Harbaugh and McCarthy. But this is what ESPN had to say on why the Raiders went out and drafted McCarthy in this mock draft. Could the Raiders roll with Aiden O'Connell in 2024? Sure. But all signs right now point to them starting over at quarterback with the new regime in place, even after signing Jimmy Garoppolo in the 2023 offseason. McCarthy is instinctive, efficient, and effective as a second-effort creator outside of the pocket. The Michigan scheme does him no favors in terms of statistics, but NFL scouts continue to tell me that McCarthy will be drafted earlier than expected. With Shedeur Sanders, Colorado, and Quinn Ewers, Texas, expected to return to college for the 2024 season, McCarthy is the lone first-round caliber passer remaining on my board, and if things play out this way, this would be the quickest that 4 quarterbacks have come off the board in the common draft era since 1967. So, how would you grade it? If the Raiders on draft night pick number 7, they come away with J.J. McCarthy at quarterback. You're taking a QB at 7, that's your franchise guy. Your new head coach wants him. Your new offensive coordinator wants McCarthy because it is a reach. It is absolutely a reach to take McCarthy at 7. However, if you desperately need a quarterback, what would you do here? A, B, C, D, or F? My grade on the Raiders taking J.J. McCarthy is going to be right here after this YouTube ad break. I know that I said that the Raiders need to take a QB in. I stand 10 toes with that. In fact, I want the Raiders. I would rather the Raiders trade up to try to get a guy like Jaden Daniels, a Caleb Williams, or a Drake May, instead of taking J.J. McCarthy here at 7. I'm going to be just blunt, and a lot of people that watch the show probably know my opinion on McCarthy. McCarthy is not going to be a good NFL quarterback, and if this was the pick, I would give it a big fat F. Not a D, not a C minus, not a D plus. This would be an F grade from me because he's not a quarterback that deserves to be drafted in round 1. He doesn't. Hell, I would take Michael Penix Jr. over J.J. McCarthy. I might even take Bo Nix over J.J. McCarthy, and I don't even like Bo Nix all that much. Even, and I mean this, even if Jim Harbaugh was the Las Vegas Raiders head coach in 2024 and they drafted McCarthy, I'd still hate that. I wouldn't want to hear the argument, oh, well, they played together in college. Yeah, they played together in college. Here's the thing. College football is a lot different than the NFL. You're not going to be able to run the exact same scheme. And sure, the Michigan scheme does not help out McCarthy in terms of a stat standpoint, but I'm also a guy that watches tape. I also watch a lot of film. To me, McCarthy is not a quarterback that deserves to go in round 1. And sure, he might end up going round 1. If they win the national championship, there's a chance he goes in round 1. But with how much talent there is out there at quarterback, man, I'd rather you just wait on QB at that point. I'd rather you say, all right, if we didn't get a QB out of Jaden Daniels, if we didn't get a guy like Caleb Williams or Drake May, I'm going to just wait on QB. I'm going to wait on QB. I would rather the Raiders trade for Justin Fields than to draft J.J. McCarthy at number 7.
Wow.
Very important.
Hot take.
That's not a hot
take,
take.
Mitch.
I mean, I just don't see how that would help out your team. To me, if you did that, you're just going to be back in line next season to take another top quarterback.
I know a guy who would strongly disagree with you.
He also writes my checks. I get it. But That's the thing. Like I'm not going to take J.J. McCarthy. This is your question. Yep.
Yeah.
Little jersey switch up.
Today is National Gingerbread House Day. So, my question to you, do you like gingerbread? My take on it is, I don't think it's a good cookie because people would rather decorate with it than eat it. Nobody's ever like, oh, I'm building this gingerbread house, but I'm really tempted to eat it. Like, no, you're like, it's not a good cookie. I'd rather make it into an ornament or make it into something that, people can look at rather than eat. That's just my opinion. I'm not a big gingerbread guy. Petey, gingerbread or no? No? Yeah, Petey says no.
Also, some news here around the Raiders. Brandon Parker has signed to the active roster, and DJ Fluker is going to the practice squad. Kanai Mauga now goes to the reserve injured list, and some other news around the NFL. This has been a player that we've talked about a bunch. But Melvin Ingram is working out with the Miami Dolphins today.
Wow.
Yeah, I would tell. I don't know if Reitman knows that yet because that's definitely a vid. But to the 531 people here, yes or no, do you like gingerbread? Here's my thing. I like gingerbread.
Really?
I'll say this. When I make my gingerbread, I make it with molasses because what I don't want is a gingerbread cookie that when you bite it, it just breaks instantly in half. I want a gingerbread cookie with a little bit of molasses. That way it's kind of soft. Then I think it's very good.
You like it more soft than hard.
I'm usually a guy where I want it to sit in my mouth a little bit. Let the saliva take over. Then you can kind of like suck on the cookie a little bit. That way you get like the longer taste. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, long taste.
You want that like coating in your mouth.
It'll last longer if it's soft.
Exactly. No, that's kind of what I'm looking for with a good gingerbread. What up, Luis Rodriguez? Good idea. 1v1 horse races. We're going to do it in March. That I can promise you.
Red Eye Nation, you're in.
Red Eye Nation, you in. And if you don't know what you're in for, right now you got a chance to win a Raiders Report jersey. And right now there's 3 people.
You have a really good chance.
This would be the greatest giveaway for y'all that we've ever done. So Wild114 sent in $500. So usually to get a Raiders Report jersey, it's a $500 Venmo. And Wild One, Mount Raidermore, donated the jersey to all y'all. He wanted it done today on Tuesday. So $5 super chat for a chance to get in. And if you want a chance to win some money, $10 Venmo, 50-50 raffle. And even on that one, Chugs, we got 2 people in that race.
Maybe a little head-to-head action there.
Dude, I don't know. We'll see. I know the nation. I know the nation is always
Just Nick said Harbaugh's nothing but an old geezer. I don't know about that.
I don't know about that either.
Completely turned around.
Senior Steve, you guys have slowed down on drinking. Well, we've had to slow down on drinking on certain days because, believe it or not, I can't drink 10 beers 4 days a week.
Yeah.
Doctor said it's not healthy, so we only drink 10 beers twice a week. Game day and Thursday night football usually is when it ends up going down.
The thing is, I bumped my head because I was jumping on the bed. Mama called the doctor, and the doctor said no more jumping on the bed. It also said no more beers.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is that a riddle?
Huh?
Is that a riddle?
No.
An old joke?
You've
no?
never heard that song before.
I don't know. I would say it again, but I don't know if anybody wants you to say it again. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I was jumping on the bed, and then Mama called the doctor, and the doctor said,
our dog.
no more Raiders jumping on the bed.
Our dog, I'm not out on Michael Penix Jr. Like, to me, he's the 4th best quarterback in this year's draft. I think, to me, my biggest worry on Penix is the fact that he is undersized. I've never really been a big fan of lefty quarterbacks because when you listen to wide receivers talk, they'll always tell you that when the ball comes out of their hand, it's a lot different. It's a lot different look. I mean, it's just like baseball. And then his injury history, I get it. He's been healthy the last 2 years at Washington, but his injury history is lengthy. It is. So we'll see. Tanking now is a yes from Anonymous. It's not, though, and I don't think that it should be. I don't think that tanking is the right way to look at it. I'm never going to be Team Tank. These guys get paid way, way too much money, and until the Raiders have a 0% chance to make the playoffs, like, they should beat the Chargers on Thursday. Yes or no? Should the Raiders beat the Chargers? I say yes to that. And if they do, And if they are able to win their next 3-4 games, they're probably in. I know there's a lot of ifs in there, but they've already beat the Broncos. I think that they can beat the Chiefs. It's not like the Chiefs are playing great football right now.
Yeah.
And they're going to have an extended week. They're going to have 3 extra days to get ready for it. And then you got the Colts. Like, if the Raiders beat Kansas City, I might say they're in.
Your nightmare. How you feeling about this upcoming offseason, Mitch?
I've been doing the Raiders report since 2018, and we've put out a video every single day since 2018, basically. This offseason is going to be the most insane, wildest, crazy offseason that I have ever done. Not only just from a, content creator standpoint. The stuff Chugs and I have planned for all y'all this offseason is going to be insane. But then also, you're looking for a new head coach. You're going to look for a new offensive coordinator. You're going to get a new quarterback. You're going to have to look for a new running back. The trade rumors around Devontae.
I just wish the Raiders get a good quarterback.
They're going to have some money to spend in free agency. I'm telling you all this right now. This offseason is going to be the craziest offseason that we have ever dealt with.
Scott.
Ever dealt with.
You're in.
Scott O'Brien, put me in, coach. Luckily, you're in. Adrian Clark Delgado, put me in, coach. QB season in 2024. F them picks and Raiders. I get the F them picks mentality, but I would say right now, if you told me, all right, we're at pick number 6, and the number 1 overall pick isn't realistic, right? Do you trade up to number 4? And that way you know for a fact, or trade up to number 3, and that way you know you're going to get one out of Drake May, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels.
That's what I forgot who I was talking about with it in the office, but that's what I was saying. Does that almost make the number 1 pick a little bit less valuable because there is kind of questions about who is the number 1 guy? Is it Drake May? Is it Caleb Williams? Is Jaden Daniels?
I'm telling you right now,
mix?
after the NFL Combine, there is going to be some serious conversation about Jaden Daniels going number 1.
After this past offseason, I would almost rather the Raiders trade up to number 3 and then just say, hey, you know what? We'll take whichever the 3rd quarterback is, whether that's a Drake May, Caleb Williams, or Jaden Daniels. You give up a little bit less than you would to give up get the 1st overall pick, and you're still going to get a top quarterback in this year's draft.
Hey, I hear you. It's
And if you're at 6 for a team like maybe the Cardinals, if they're not going to draft a quarterback, they're still in contention to get a Marvin Harrison there.
I mean, that's the thing. The Cardinals could use an offensive tackle. There's 2 greats, and they need a wide receiver. If they went from 6 to 3, they're also locked in for what they need then.
Yeah.
I get the idea, but then, people thought Anthony Richardson was going to go in 2nd, 3rd round, and then combine number 4 overall pick.
Or the Cardinals trade the 3rd pick for the 6th pick with the Raiders, and we kind of talked about it the other day. Maybe they get just the pick swap, Devontae Adams. They have Adams with Kyler Murray, and then you draft a tackle.
I see down in the comments, I know this sounds crazy. We should get Kirk Cousins. You're right. That is crazy. That's a horrible idea.
You're crazy, man.
I mean, are you going to pay Kirk Cousins $40 million a year coming off a popped Achilles? It's an honest question. Are you going to pay Kirk Cousins $40 million a year coming off a popped Achilles? And every contract that he's, I think, gotten over the last 4 years has been fully guaranteed. And if I'm Kirk, I'm probably going to ask for another fully guaranteed deal. So 3 years, $120 million, fully guaranteed for Kirk Cousins. In this year's class, hell no.
Did you say Saints signing James Robinson?
Who? I did not say that. Why, did that just happen?
That just happened, yeah.
The Saints just signed running back James Robinson. Oh, boy. That was one of the running backs I talked about, what was it, earlier this week? I forget why I talked about James Robinson earlier in the week, but...
That was yesterday.
Was it?
You were talking about if Josh Jacobs isn't able to play on Thursday.
Oh, yeah.
Josina said the Raiders will just do nothing.
The Raiders will just pull a SpongeBob and Patrick and just pull the magic conch. That's what they're going to end up doing. Eric Ferreira, you're in our 50-50 raffle. If you're like, Mitch, what the heck's your 50-50 raffle? $10 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365. Right now we have Luis Rodriguez, Nico Laz, and Eric Ferreira, who I would say are the top 3 people that usually get in our duck races here. They're going to have a chance to win a little bit of money. Anthony, just want to say, what up, nation? Happy Taco Tuesday, and Raiders! What is up, Anthony? Anthony, you in for a chance?
Now we got 7 people in.
Right now we have, 7 people in this nice little duck race here for a chance to win a Raiders Report
I
jersey.
want to give one spot away because it's the holiday season.
Okay.
I'm going to give one spot away
I'm listening.
to whoever spams LV the most right now in the next 30 seconds.
Whoever spams LV the most in the next 30 seconds, Chugs is going to enter you in our duck race for a chance to win a jersey here. Jeremy, I'm going to let you hold this one down. I'm going to let you put this. So we have a machine here that's able to basically just track all your messages. Jeremy, you do that. I'll give some shout outs here. Emilio, Joshua, Andrew, Jesus, Diluted. That's funny. There's an account, Diluted Wi-Fi Saints fan, with a picture of the loony bin. Juice the Ooze, Samuel, what's up, man? Rusty T, Waters, I see ya. I got my guy Sherry. I got Anthony, Andrew, Majin, Carly's, Matthew Y, Beatbox 88, Anonymous, Andrew, Jurassic Soul, Jesus, Eric. What up, Ivan, Andrew, and then ED Amazing. Jeremy.
All right.
Do you have the person who typed it in the most?
I think I do.
Okay. And the
It's
winner
close.
of the free entry.
Oh,
Shit. John Rodriguez.
so the winner of the free entry
I'm listening.
is Eric Ferreira.
Eric Ferreira. So, Eric, could be a lucky day for you. Eric has a jersey. What number is Eric? Do you remember what number you are already? I can find out here in just a second. I'm pretty sure Eric has a jersey. Or am I tripping, Eric? Maybe I'm tripping. I thought Eric had one already. Maybe I'm tripping. I don't know.
John Rodriguez. Mitch and Chugs,
That's Kreischer.
here's a hypothetical. We lose all the remaining games and we end at number 4. We trade with the Bears. DA, number 1, and 6 could also. Wait, hold on. I'm just so confused with this.
I know. All right. So Mitch and Chugs. Here's a hypothetical. We lose all remaining of our games and we end up at pick number 4. Cool.
Pause.
So now we're at number 4. We trade with the Bears for Devontae Adams for number 1 and 6. So he's saying that at that point, the Bears would be at pick 6. So you're saying Devontae Adams.
You're not getting 1 and 6 for Devontae.
Yeah, I guess that's what I don't quite understand. Like Devontae Adams, for you to be at 4 to go up to number 1, like Devontae Adams by himself is not enough.
Yeah, you would have to trade 4 and Devontae together to get to 1 and probably have to give up another second round or first round pick.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the value of it. We could also trade one of our second or third to move up to 4. You're not, I mean, that's the other thing. You're not trading a second and a third to move up to 4. Like, if you traded, the Raiders have a first, a second, a third, a fourth, a fifth, a sixth, and then 3 7s. If you traded your 3 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, not enough to get up to number 4. Like,
yeah.
You'd probably have to do all those picks and your first round pick next year. And even that, I don't know if it's enough. I mean, again, the way that teams value prospects, I mean, think about how much the Carolina Panthers had to give up to go up to number 1 in a draft that was considered weaker than what this year's draft is. Like, I like the hypothetical trades. I actually love when people send in hypothetical trades. But I don't think that this is anywhere even close to kind of what we were looking for.
Yeah, I don't.
It's just creative, though.
Yeah.
I'll give you bonus points for being creative.
I get what you're saying. He's saying basically is there a way the Raiders can get a top quarterback and Marvin Harrison? Which I don't think so.
Oh.
His idea was you trade up from 4 to number 1, and then you also trade up with them for their other pick so that you can get Marvin. And see, the thing is, if you're trading up to 1 and you're at 4, the Bears are picking Marvin Harrison at 4.
Probably. And you just keep Justin Fields. I mean, it'll be interesting. I know this draft is going to be absolutely loaded with talent. Also, I see Dab City Boley says, I want to apologize about thinking that y'all didn't drink. I had to look up Happy Dads and see what it was. Yeah, you're not the first person that calls us out for drinking Happy Dads or drinking seltzers, I guess. I think, is that what you're talking about? I mean, we drink Happy Dads because we know we can handle it.
When we pour them in the boots, and that's why we try to sometimes, have it on and pour it in there. Because if we just pour it outside and then bring it in, everybody's like, you're doing a water boot?
Yeah, but here's the other problem, though. Like, the beers, like, if I drink a beer or if I drink a Happy Dad where you guys just see me, like, sipping one or even, like, a shotgun, like, once in a while, like a beer bong, I can do one ice-cold Happy Dad.
Yeah. And, like,
2 and 3.
A Happy Dad is, like, basically the same alcohol content as a beer.
Yeah.
It's just less calories and more hydration.
Way less carbonation, which makes it a lot easier. A lot more electrolytes. So a lot of times what we'll do is before like our day starts here, it sounds ridiculous, but it shouldn't for people that watch this show. We'll pour boots. We'll leave them out there. Carbonation goes away. They become room temperature. Sure, they don't taste great, but for the sense of what we're doing, sometimes like you just got to do what you got to do, and that's just how it is.
And somebody said, how do I get into the duck race?
Here's how you get in.
There's going to be 2 duck races that you can enter.
Correct.
There's going to be one for a Raiders Report jersey, which is just a $5 super chat.
Like the one I'm rocking right now, LA Crash Dog. John Rodriguez, you're obviously in.
And then the second is a 50-50 raffle, $10 Venmo, which, did you check?
I will check right now. Looks like right now we have 3 people in our 50-50 race. So right now, winner would get $15. So 10 to win 15. I might have to spice it up a little bit. You want to spice it up a little bit? How about this? If we get, I am curious if we do the dreidel game. I'm going to add an extra 50 right now. Whatever we end up getting to, I'll add an extra 50.
Shit.
So right now, you'd have a chance to win some extra money. I'll add an extra 50 to it. Sound good? I want to see a race with some people on it. Bueno, Joe Flacco has no business being in the NFL. He had one good game. He had one good game. Zahn says no on Flacco. I agree.
If you know anything about Mitch and his history covering the NFL, Flacco is probably one of his oldest nemesis.
Joe Flacco's the reason why I made Twitter. My first tweet was, the Ravens are going to regret giving Joe Flacco the deal that they did. And then I called Merrill Hodge an idiot. That's my first tweet.
And he went on to win Super Bowl MVP.
No, that was after.
Oh.
So he won Super Bowl MVP. I can still remember the segment. Hodge said Joe Flacco's the best quarterback in the NFL. They gave him that giant contract. Then after that contract, I was like, they're never going to win anything close to that, which was 100% accurate. Like, they still won football games. But if you're going to make a quarterback the highest guy in the league, you're expecting to have some success in the playoffs and make another Super Bowl run, which they never did.
Some teams, which I know the Dallas Cowboys do this a lot, they try to reward guys for what they've done for the team. So I'm okay. If you get a Super Bowl out of it, I'm willing to give them a big contract.
Sure. And you know what, Jeremy? Let me go grab one of these pans here real quick, like one of these HexClad pans.
Oh, here, I got you.
You're going to go grab it for me?
Yeah, I'll grab it.
Jeremy's going to go grab a HexClad pan for me real quick here. And I see David Zahn's in the chat. Dab City Boley says, I would like to get in both, please. Dab City, you have the ability to do it. I see Thomas in. Thomas just got in our 50-50 raffle here. Thomas, Hene. Hopefully I pronounced that right. And here's the other thing, which Jeremy didn't want me to tell y'all, but we're actually off tomorrow. So because the Raiders play on Thursday Night Football, we don't have to work tomorrow. So here's what we're going to do. Jeremy doesn't know we're going to do this, but every time we bang on today's show, we're going to do some beer bongs. Jeremy told me not to tell you, and he's coming back now, so I have to be quiet. So every hundo we're banging. Beer bong. What's up? Thanks. You got to go take a leak? Yeah, you're good. And now he's going to go take a leak. Do you want the Raiders to draft a quarterback in round 1? So earlier in the season, all right, he's gone now. So we originally had to make rules on this show because y'all were just making us do some wild and crazy shit all the time. So we don't usually drink on Tuesdays. That's more just because our Wednesday days are kind of crazy. But you know what? It's the holidays. Let's let our hair down here a little bit. Let's have some fun today. I want to have some fun today. I got off tomorrow. Little Raiders Thursday Night Football. I still think that I'm going to go live on Sunday for some game. I don't know what game it's going to be. It kind of depends on what happens in this Thursday Night Football game. Like, am I going to root for the Raiders to have a better chance to make the playoffs? Also, it's official. Melvin Ingram is signing with the Miami Dolphins. So that's a big-time signing. The Dolphins add to their defense Melvin Ingram back to Miami Gardens. Big-time move there for the Dolphins. But if you guys want to get a little bit wild today with Jeremy Chugs and I, like I said, we are doing a bang race here in the month of December, and every time we bang today, we're going to do a beer bong, but you better do one with us. All right, I also see we got another person entering this race here, Jeffrey Kreischer. You in. So right now we got 5 people in our 50-50 raffle. And since I'm adding an extra 50 piece in that, the math, how that ends up mathing is right now winner would win $75. So $10 Venmo to win 75. Good luck to you. 10 right now to win 75. Also, the Raiders and Chargers injury report has just been released. Curtis Bolton was limited today. Adam Butler, limited today. Maxx Crosby did not participate. Josh Jacobs, Andre James, and Colt Miller did not participate. Amik Robertson was limited. Kanai Malga was sent to the IR. In terms of the Chargers, Keenan Allen did not participate. Also, Brandon Faison will make his season debut for the Las Vegas Raiders. I keep saying tomorrow, on Thursday. In terms of their injuries, I think the only really important one is Keenan Allen at wide receiver. Andrew, this offseason is going to be wild. This is my first super chat. Mitch and Chugs, the GOATs, sign them, Mark. So somebody actually asked me today, would we join the Raiders if we were hired? And I said, obviously. I mean, it always comes down to money, right? Like, as much as I would love to work for the Raiders, if the Raiders were like, we're going to hire you guys for minimum wage and then I can barely put food on the table for my family and Chuck, mainly Chuck, then I'm probably not going to be able to take that job. If you told me, hey, we're going to get a massive raise and I'm able to do a lot of different things, I mean, you'd be crazy not to work for the Raiders.
I'll just take Jimmy G's contract.
Yeah, I'll take that. I would take the guaranteed money on Jimmy G's contract. And then, I'll work for that. Or we could do something like Shohei. Give me Jimmy G's contract. I will work for minimum wage for the first 3 years on Jimmy G's deal. And then when I retire, I get paid all the rest of it. The Shohei contract is insane. But Andrew, cheers to you, my guy. First time super and you in. What up, Savior? This year has been a roller coaster. But again, we shouldn't be surprised. I wasn't at least. But again, I'm looking forward to the future and go Raiders. I mean, I think everybody that's watching in, what is today, December 12th, happy birthday to Brett. But I think every single person that is watching the show is a diehard Raider fan that obviously wants the Raiders to win. And the reason why we're doing today's show the way that we're doing it is because I've had so many people ask me, hey, can we talk about the future? Can we talk about the draft? Can we talk about the offseason? Because this season's over. The problem is the season's not over. The Raiders can still mathematically make the playoffs. You just got to win your next 4 games. If they win their next 4 games, they're probably in it. And then there's the other people that are like, no, we still have a chance to make the playoffs. So that's why you're getting a lot of draft content today. But you're also going to get a preview of the Raiders-Chargers Thursday night football game. All right, y'all. So Jeremy Chugs is back in the studio. We got 500 people here watching. If you haven't already, click that like button. Make sure you do so. Believe it or not, helps us out a lot here. We are one like away from 200. So my question is, who's going to be like 200? Coming up here next on the show, which now, oh boy, we got a few more people in our next 50-50 raffle here. So I see Sergio Torres, you in. Adriano Martinez, in. Alan, this looks like a new one. Klamesh, in. And then Eric Mendoza, you in. So right now we have 9 people, 45 plus 50, 95. So right now it's 10 to win 95 here on the Raiders Report. I'll be interested to see how this one ends up going down. And then, again, if anybody wants a chance to get in to win a Raiders Report jersey, $5 super chat, and you're going to be entered in for that. We're going to do a duck race at the very end of the show. I'm going to take a sip of water, and then we're going to get into our next segment here, which is mock draft in December.
Go.
Mock draft in December is kind of wild to me. But, hey, here's what it is. David Zahn says, Chugalicious. Sounds like the Better Fergie song. Coming up right now here on the Raiders Report. Let me get in my right spot. Presented by Cool Raiders mock draft time. You ready? All right, let's go. Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and it's never too early for a little Raiders mock draft. Would not been able to do today's show if it wasn't for our awesome sponsor, HexClad. And if anybody out there wants to elevate their cooking game, like, I don't know, Gordon Ramsay, go to hexclad.com/chatsports. That link's going to be available to you all down in the comments and down in the description of today's show. So with the Raiders right now at the number 6 overall pick, if the NFL season were to end today, I've had so many people, Mitch, do a mock draft. So guess what? Today I'm going to rock out with my mock out. And I did this one on PFF. So my mock draft simulator was ran through the PFF, all their rankings, and you're going to see every single pick that I would have made. As it stands right now, the Raiders have 9 picks in the 2024 NFL Draft. You have round 1, pick 6 at 37, round 2, round 3, pick 74, round 4, 109. Round 5, 142. Round 6, 202. And then 3 picks in the 7th round. I will admit, I did not do any trades whatsoever in this mock, and I will do probably a mock with trades later in the offseason. I just wanted to kind of break down the 9 picks that I would go with. But if I know the Raiders, those 3 7s are going to turn into something like a 6th, maybe even a 5th round pick. So with this mock draft simulator, Caleb Williams, he went off the board to the Chicago Bears. Then Drake May went off the board. Marvin Harrison Jr. Olu went to the Commanders. And at number 5, Latu, the edge rusher out of UCLA, to then the Chicago Bears. So that means this. The Las Vegas Raiders were on the clock. You know where I stand at quarterback. Caleb Williams off the board. Drake May is off the board. And here are the best players available according to PFF. You had Brock Bowers, tight end out of Georgia, one of the best tight end prospects that I've seen. You guys know how much I liked Michael Mayer. Bowers is a better tight end than Mayer. Joe Alt, Malik Neighbors, Kool-Aid McKinstry, Jerzon Newton, Chop Robinson, Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix Jr., Bo Nix, J.J. McCarthy, all available at my disposal here. So my question to every single person is this, and this is going to be the pinned comment. This is going to be what I want y'all to answer down below. You're about to get hit with the YouTube ad break, so scroll on down. Who should the Las Vegas Raiders draft at pick number 6? With the 6th pick in my very first mock draft for this year, I am going to select quarterback out of LSU, Jaden Daniels, the Heisman Trophy winner. The Las Vegas Raiders need to be able to find a playmaker under center. You need to be able to find somebody that can really change the game. And to me, you can't try to hit a single with Aiden O'Connell. You can't try to hit a single with Jimmy Garoppolo again. Honestly, trying to roll out with Brian Hoyer, I know it's not going to happen. That's like a sack bunt. You need a home run. When you're going up against Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, You need a home run, and that's exactly what Daniels is here in my mock. Not only is he an incredible passer, not only has he gotten better at throwing the football from his time at Arizona State to his first year at LSU to this past year, 40 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. This dude can do a lot of special things, and he can also get it done with his legs. 135 carries, 1,334 yards, 10 rushing touchdowns. The notes that I have on Jaden Daniels look very, very similar to the notes I had on Lamar Jackson. And I know there's a lot of people out there like, oh, Mitch, Lamar Jackson's never going to make it happen. I know there's a lot of people out there that said the Raiders should never draft an LSU quarterback because of Jamarcus Russell. Let's get one thing straight. Anybody saying Jaden Daniels and Jamarcus Russell the same QB, you should unsubscribe. You shouldn't watch them because that's about as dumb as it gets. To me, sometimes you just got to be able to believe in a guy that I don't know how the talent's going to translate, but the talent is clearly there. And I really, truly believe that Jaden Daniels is going to be a special quarterback in the NFL. And he's a clear upgrade. The Raiders are going to move on from Jimmy Garoppolo. They're going to cut him this offseason. They're going to make him a post-June 1st cut. They're going to cut Brian Hoyer. They should keep Aiden O'Connell as a backup quarterback. And who knows, maybe you decide to draft another QB late. Maybe you decide to sign an older free agent guy that you can have at the practice squad. Maybe just keep a guy like Chase Garbers. I don't know, but what I do know is this. You cannot go into next season with any of these guys as your starting quarterback, or else you might as well get ready yet again to pick in the top 5. If you're looking for mock drafts all off-season long, make sure you subscribe to the Raiders Report. We're going to be making tons of draft content the entire offseason. My job here is to have a good time. We're going to bang a little bit on live shows. You're going to get a lot of live content. But during the draft, this is where Chat Sports can really flex their muscles. Our draft coverage is going to be, I guarantee you, the best draft coverage you see on YouTube. And if it's not, you can unsubscribe. Here's the thing. It's absolutely free, which I think is pretty damn cool. All right, so we took Jaden Daniels at pick number 6 in round 1. I was looking to add a corner. I'm going to be looking to add a defensive tackle. I was thinking, all right, do I potentially go offense, defense, maybe the guys in the trenches? Could have gone a lot of different areas here, but you know what? I was really, really excited with the pick that I ended up getting here. He fell down the board. I'm kind of surprised because to me, he's the top 30 overall prospect. I'm going to go defensive tackle Leonard Taylor III out of the U. I know that I've been preaching that I want Tyree Wilson to be an interior defensive tackle. Chugs and I have been preaching that here on this show because to me, Tyree Wilson can be that guy. I'm hoping Malcolm Kuntz comes back. You add him as an edge rusher, not comes back. He's already going to be back. I want him to get an extension. But to me, then, you would have Maxx Crosby, Leonard Taylor III, who would be by far your best defensive tackle, next to Tyree Wilson. And then you let Malcolm Kuntz continue to cook there on the outside. To me, when I look at Taylor, he's a really good DT at being able to get after the quarterback and pass rush. PFF, on their analysis on him, is this. Big men don't often get the athlete label as a prospect, but at 6'3", 305 pounds, that is exactly what Taylor is. His pass rush win rate is one of the highest at the position, making him one of the best, perhaps the best, pass rushing defensive tackle in this year's class. So to me, when you look at the Raiders' defensive tackles, Jerry Tillery, I don't know what he is exactly. John Jenkins, going to be a free agent. Bilal Nichols, going to be a free agent. Adam Butler, yes, he's had an okay season, but again, what can we really count on him? Byron Young's been a healthy scratch the entire season. Nesta Jade Silvera has been a healthy scratch the entire year. I want the Raiders to go out and address the defensive tackle room, and that's exactly what I did here. So I got Jaden Daniels, Leonard Taylor III. So I took QB, went DT. I really, really like the start of this. And then in round 3, I'm just going to tell you all this right now, and it kind of reminds me of the corner from Seattle, whose name's escaping me right now. And we talked Woolen. Yeah, Tariq Woolen, where I had a mock draft taking Tariq Woolen in the 3rd round, and then guess what? He ends up going where he ends up going. This is another player that I don't think is going to be available in round 3 because once more people get to know who he is, and when he lights up the combine, people are going to be like, holy shit, this kid is talented. Quinion Mitchell, cornerback out of Toledo. I mean, he is an athletic freak. 6 foot, 200 pounds, 41 tackles, 18 PBUs, and 1 INT. When people targeted him at Toledo, I think a lot of the times the quarterbacks would be like, holy Toledo. 5 pick sixes. Dude can make plays. 5 picks last season, I thought was what Chuck said. 5 picks last season. The guy's a playmaker, and I know sometimes people look at small schools and they're like, I don't really know where to go about that. To me, Quinion Mitchell in round 3, he's going to be a round 2 pick. Like, really, really talented player. And for where the Raiders are at right now, Amik Robertson going to be a free agent. Yes, you got Nate Hobbs, and Nate Hobbs has been a dog. Jack Jones, are they going to bring him back? If Antonio Pierce is the head coach, yes, Jack Jones will be back. Jacorian Bennett's been bad. Tyler Hall deserves to come back. He's been a really solid player. Brandon Faison has finally just been lifted off IR. He's going to get his first time playing up against the Chargers, but he's got a 2-year deal. I think he ends up getting cut in the offseason. The Raiders need a corner. The Raiders need a defensive tackle. The Raiders need a quarterback, and that's exactly what I did here with my first 3 picks and my first mock draft for 2024. Let's go to round 4 now, pick 109, and this is a pick that I'm just going to tell you, it's kind of a little bit of a spoiler alert. I'm thinking long-term, and I don't know how much of an impact he's going to be able to make on this roster in the first year, but to me, it's a long-term move, and sometimes people really freak out when a guy gets injured, and they don't look at the overall prospect. And I think you got to look at the overall prospect. But you know what? Before I tell you who I decided to pick here at 109 in round 4, with a first-round pick, if I had to pick one for pans in my cooking game, it's HexClad. In fact, they are round 1, pick 1. And if you want to elevate your cooking game, go to hexclad.com/chatsports. And personally, I think this is actually a great item to get for the holidays. It's probably something that I don't know if I would be able to buy myself right away, but if I wanted to get my dad, my mom, something that maybe they wouldn't know about, HexClad is really, really changing the cooking game. And if anybody out there likes to eat, well, hey, listen up, because it's time right now to get started with HexClad, because they have revolutionized the cookware industry with a hybrid pan that gives you all the convenience and cleanup of a nonstick, the versatility of your grandma's cast iron, and a lifetime warranty just in case you find a way to destroy them. Raider Nation, go to hexclad.com/chatsports for 10% off. HexClad truly checks every single box when it comes to picking your cookware. They are metal utensil safe, dishwasher safe, and oven safe up to 500 degrees. But hey, man, maybe you're not going to take my word for it. You're like, Mitch, I've seen you and Jeremy eat Taco Bell on this show. I've never seen Gordon Ramsay do that. And maybe you're right. But the sear I can get on these pans is incredible with absolutely no stick. The temperature control is utter perfection, and the cleanup is effortless. I love using HexClad at home. If Gordon Ramsay uses HexClad at home, I hate to break it to you, you should probably use these pans at home as well. They're also the sexiest pans on the market. Score some points with mom. Maybe score some points with the fiance. If you're the cooker in the family like me, hey, I could use all the extra bonus points I could get. So it's time to stop ordering delivery food and start cooking like a big boy with HexClad. Real cuisine isn't made in the microwave. It's cooked in HexClad. For a limited time, get 10% off with our special link, hexclad.com/chatsports. That's 10% off at hexclad.com/chatsports. And I know every single time I talk about HexClad, I always say, like, hey, man, I got to show you how sexy these pans are. But they really, really, truly are. They're beautiful pans. They're super easy to use. And my number one thing when I cook, I want food to taste great, and I hate cleaning up. I do. The fact that I can put this in the dishwasher and never be worried that if it's going to be ruined or not when I take it out, that's easy for me. It also saves me the headache in case Alex finds a pan that's ruined and she's like, did you put this in the dishwasher? Because usually I'm the one that does that. Get started. Great stocking stuffer. Great holiday gift. hexclad.com/chatsports. And with the 4th round, pick 109, I'm going to go guard Zach Zinter. And the only reason why Zinter is available here at pick 109 is because the injury that he sustained a few weeks ago for the Michigan Wolverines. But, like, to me, he's one of the best offensive guards and would have been one of the top guards. Was a first-round talent, in my personal opinion, coming out of Michigan. On top of that is a leader. He's an All-American. He's the captain of that team, and that's where that team looks to run behind. Like, I know a lot of the times we talk about J.J. McCarthy. We talk about Blake Corum. But the reason why the Michigan offensive line is sometimes as good as what it is because you need a leader up front. Andre James is going to be a free agent. Greg Van Roten is going to be a free agent. Tremaine Illuminor is going to be a free agent, right? I'm not going to trust Justin Herron, Jordan Meredith, Thayer Munford. I'm not ready to trust those guys yet. As it stands right now, that means Colton Miller, Dylan Parham. Dylan Parham could get kicked into guard or kicked into center, which means both of your guard positions are going to be available, which is why I love the long-term pick of Zach Zinter because to me, he would be a long-term option on your offensive line. And I want the Raiders to start putting a little bit more focus on the trenches. They might not be sexy picks, But Zach Zinter in round 4, that's sexier than a HexClad. Let's go to round 5, pick 142 here on the Raiders Report. Huge lineman in small schools from Senior. I hear you, my guy. This pick I'm a little bit up in the air about because I'm not a believer that Josh Jacobs is going to be back next season. So I'm going to go with Ray Davis, and he is a smaller height standard-wise, but he's a little bit thicker. And I was not crazy about a lot of the picks that were on the board here at this spot, and sometimes that is simply going to happen. Again, this is our 2024 mock draft, just so you guys don't get confused. But in last season, he had 186 carries, and with Jacobs being a free agent, Zamir White stinks. Amir Abdullah is only a pass catcher. And then Brandon Bolden's also really bad. Sure, you do have Sincere McCormick, but from what it sounds like right now, I haven't seen him on the field, and you're not going to go into next offseason with Sincere McCormick or Zamir White as your only 2 running backs on this roster. Like, the running backs in the free agency pool are very impressive, and the way that this draft ended up going, like usually I am team draft a running back, but the way that I'd probably look at this year's class in the free agency pool is, you know what, I'm going to look at going out and getting somebody that I could potentially use then as like a free agent running back. So I believe also these numbers are from 2023 on Ray Davis. He's been a player on the Kentucky Wildcats for the past 2 seasons where he's been getting the most run. He is basically just a between the tackles runner. He's a hard runner. But if I'm going to add Jaden Daniels, a lot of times when you have a mobile quarterback, that does give you the ability then to be able to have a running back that, you know, when you have a mobile quarterback, it helps out the running game quite a bit. So you have Ray Davis. You still have Zamir White, I guess, as extra depth, but he's not a lock to make this team next season because he's a McDaniels and Ziegler guy. And then with how much talent is out there in the free agency pool at running back, where this situation, I might have to end up going with that direction. So here's my question to all of y'all out there. Who is going to be the Raiders starting running back next season? Are you willing to pay Josh Jacobs $8 million per year on a 3-year type of deal? If your answer to that is yes, then maybe it's Jacobs. For me personally, I have seen such a decline in Jacobs' overall ability this season. He's still a good running back. I'm not trying to take that away from him. But his burst, his acceleration, it has definitely been zapped after having 393 total touches the year before that. I am willing to bet a lot of money that Jacobs won't be back next season, and because of that, I'm curious to know what you guys think, who's going to be the Raiders starting running back next season. Let's go to round 6, pick 202. And this is the part of the draft, and I'm going to be real with y'all. It's hard to find some players, and I'm going to go based on what the Raiders need and kind of where I'm thinking going forward. I'm going to go with Ben Sinnott, and hopefully that's how you pronounce this tight end's name, from Kansas State. 49 catches, 676 yards, 6 touchdowns. Michael Mayer is going to be your number 1. Michael Mayer needs to be the number 1 tight end on this team. He's been a very solid tight end this season. I hope he gets more work. But Austin Hooper, I don't know if he's going to be back, right? Like, yes, he's got a deal, but sometimes players get cut in the offseason, like not really used all that heavily. Jesper Horsted, another player. He was more of a McDaniels guy. I know they like him, but to me, I view him a little bit more as just a practice squad guy. Sinnott has had some run blocking, pass blocking experience, had a solid year this past season with K-State, and a lot of times those players are very well coached. So if I'm going to be finding a backup tight end, I'm going to look at a guy like Ben. Now it's round 7, and usually in round 7, this is where I like to get creative, and I try to trade some of these picks in an actual draft to go up and get somebody higher on the board. For this one, I'm going to go with Julian Pearl, the offensive tackle from Illinois. 6'6", 315 pounds. I just noticed that he's from Danville, Illinois. I'm from Danville, Pennsylvania. Shout out to the 570. But to me, I look at Julian Pearl as, if Carmen Basillo is still your offensive line coach, like, they like to work with guys that are giants, right? A big-time guy, 6'6", 315 pounds out of the Big Ten, which is kind of where, Thayer Munford, Big Ten guy. You look at Dalton Wagner, he's 6'8". So to me, that's kind of where I'm going with here. If Priscilla's still on the team, I could see them taking a flyer on a guy like Julian Pearl at offensive tackle. Let's go to round 7 now. 227 here is the pick on the board. And I'm going to go with Miles Frazier, 6'6", 323-pound guard out of LSU. And the reason why I went this route here is because, again, big-time offensive lineman. And if I'm going to take Zach Zinter, who is not expected to play in 2024 because of the injury that he sustained, and it was a wicked one, multiple breaks in that leg, then do you just add a little bit of extra depth here on your offensive line? I know a lot of people from Camden, New Jersey. If you're from Camden, you're a tough mother effer, man. So Miles Frazier, you're the next guy up here. And then round 7, pick 240 to round out my 2024 Raiders mock draft. I also went with Frazier because he's got that connection with Jaden Daniels. Tim Smith. And I want y'all to do this because Jeremy and I laughed out loud. I want you to Google Tim Smith, but you got to Google the images. Here's the thing. Doesn't look anything like this Tim Smith. 6'4", 304-pound defensive tackle out of Alabama, and this is just the truth. If I'm in round 7 and I see a guy from Alabama at a position that I need where my draft knowledge is at right now, because I've only studied first-round players and basically only quarterbacks, Tim Smith, defensive tackle from Alabama, let's let it ride. So here is my 2024 mock draft if the Raiders had the number 6 pick in the 2024 NFL draft. I went quarterback, DT, corner, offensive line, running back, tight end, offensive tackle, offensive guard, and then DT. So those were my 9 picks. But you know what? The reason why I love mock drafts is because there's a lot of times when I do this show, I'll always sit up here and I'll grade other people. Well, here's your opportunity. And this is where you got to be honest with me. If the Raiders draft ended and that's what it was, what would you grade it? If you need to rewind a little bit, go ahead and do so. A, B, C, D, or F. How would you grade this mock draft? And if you want to know what I would do, like what my honest grade was from this mock, message me on IG at MitchellRenz365. If you want to tweet at me on Twitter, like when this video goes out on YouTube, if you share it on IG and Twitter and you tag me, it's probably going to be the easiest way for me to see it. I'll give you my honest opinion. If I see when people hit me up, I do my best to hit you back up. The good part about when a show grows, you get more and more people to hit you up. So it's a little bit more difficult. But I promise you, if you guys take time out of your day to watch the video and I see that you're asking me that question, I will respond. It's part of my job here, and I like doing it. So grade my mock draft A, B, C, D, or F. All right, y'all. I see some B's. I see a D, a C, a B. No A's. It's all good. Do you trust Champ Kelly to run the Raiders draft? Yes or no? It's a great question. You interact with them. I got to swap my jersey here real quick.
Gotcha. Let me know. Do you trust Champ Kelly? There's been a lot of people saying, hey, just make Champ Kelly the GM already. Take the interim away. Let's just make Champ Kelly the GM. So maybe the biggest Achilles heel for the Raiders the past 10 years has been the NFL draft. Do you trust Champ Kelly to turn the tide? Do you trust him to have a great draft? Because this might be one of the most pivotal drafts for the Raiders in the past 20 years. You're looking at possibly new GM. I mean, you are looking at a new GM, new head coach, possibly new quarterback. I mean, the whole team is about to have a total turnaround. What do you say? Do you trust Champ Kelly?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a total facelift. Like, you're going to have a new quarterback. You're going to have a bunch of new. Like, you have to have a bunch of new. Like, there's no flipping way you can go into this offseason and have the exact same thing that you got. Like, there's no way, right? Now, I will admit, and, I've kind of like thought about head coaches, GMs, offensive coordinators, and I said this yesterday that I do really like a lot of the coaches on this Raiders staff, and it's mainly the ones that McDaniels and Ziegler did not bring in. But I like a lot of the coaches. Though they did bring in Carmen Brasillo. I still like Carmen Brasillo as an offensive line coach, but I like Jason Simmons. I like Rob Leonard. Like, to me, Edgar Bennett is a very well-respected wide receivers coach. But if you told me the only way, here's an interesting question for all y'all. If the only way you can keep Patrick Graham, okay, as your defensive coordinator is to keep Champ Kelly and Antonio Pierce as GM and head coach, would you do it? And I know, I think people outside of the Raiders probably roll their eyes to that question, but the Raiders defense has been historically bad for 20 years. The Raiders have a top 10 defense, no doubt. Hell, there's some people out there that think that this defense might even be like top 5. Like, that's how good the Raiders defense has played over the past few weeks. I mean, they have been.
Yeah.
They held the Giants to 6. I know it's the Jets, but held the Jets to 12. I thought they played a great football game against the Dolphins. If you have an offense, you win that game. Yeah, Kansas City did Kansas City things. That's been the one black eye. But then you just held Minnesota to 3. Like, this Raiders defense is playing amazing.
And something that I would recommend everybody doing is kind of seeing what he's done in the past. Like, what did Champ Kelly do before coming to the Raiders? And
it's not
he
great.
was with the Bears.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
You look at the Bears picks between 2017 and 2021. Is that what you want for the Raiders draft this year?
Probably not.
I mean, he drafted Justin Fields.
Yeah.
How has that turned out?
Part of that regime. I mean, Chicago's been really bad too. Like, there's no doubt about it. Chicago's been really bad too. OC Raider, what's up, man? Paul Raider. Appreciate all y'all tuning in.
We do have some super chats to get to before we get to our last segment.
We do have a few supers to get to, which I believe is Eric Mendoza. And again, y'all, if you want to skip the line, because right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like 5 questions, so you'd be the 6th one. So if you want to skip the line, hashtag Raiders, super chat to get on. Eric Mendoza, I was at the game, and it was all purple. We have to do a better job at showing up. It was a bad game, but come on, nation. Raiders! And I hear you, right? I think that the nation at times does need to do a better job, but I also understand this because, you know, when you run a show like that we run here, I also can see a lot of the numbers in terms of people watching the show. It's down. People that watch the videos that aren't live, it's down. Like, the excitement around the Raiders is significantly lower this year than what it has been probably since I've started doing this show, if I'm being 100% honest with you. But I can also get, it's the holidays, right? Do I want to spend potentially thousands of dollars to go to Las Vegas to watch the Raiders? Like, if anything, I watched that 3-0 game if I was thinking about it, and I'm like, shit, I'm glad I didn't spend thousands of dollars, right? Because you got to pay for your hotel. You got to pay for while you're there. You got to pay for the tickets. Like, to me, this is more on Mark Davis, where teams, they're going to have the Raiders circled on their calendar, opposing teams. Like, if I'm a Vikings fan and
am I going to travel?
What's the one city I'm going to go to?
Yeah. Are you going to go to the away game in Cleveland or Las Vegas?
Exactly. And you're always going to be competing with that, and that's why the ticket prices are what they are. And for the Raiders, like, they have to understand that that's what they're going to be out there competing with. I don't blame any Raiders fan for not going to the game.
In week 3, when we went to the pregame parties, how many Steelers fans did we see in Las Vegas?
Yeah, tons. I mean, tons and tons and tons. And the way that this year has gone, I don't blame people for not wanting to spend all that money going to that game. Like, I'd rather people show up here to the Raiders Report and have a good time with Chugs and I. Now, I do think it's really legendary when people are like, yo, I'm at the game right now, and like they're still watching with us. I think that shit's really cool, but I hear you. John, Mitch, is Davante Adams worth picks 1 and 6?
No.
He's not worth pick 1. I don't even think he's worth pick 6.
Now, and I get where John's coming from because
I do too.
Like earlier in the year, Mitch has said, you know, Davante Adams worth 2 first-round picks.
2 first-round picks.
When he's saying that, he's talking about a contender that's picking in the 20s. If you're, you know, the Rams or the Ravens, then 2 first-round picks is a lot different than if you're picking in the top 10. Is Davante Adams worth, you know, maybe a team that's like the 28th overall pick this year in the first round? I think so. But that's a lot different than 2 first-round picks inside the top 6.
Like, if the Raiders had pick 6, okay, right now, if the Raiders had pick 6 and the Bears are at number 1 and you say, Davante Adams, and what else do you need? I think the Chicago Bears say, I want your first-round pick this year and your first-round pick next year. Like, and that's just the way the draft is evaluated. Like, I will admit, though, Davante's value is much, much higher this year, even though he's coming off one of the worst years of his career, which it's the truth. But because the Raiders have already paid him for 2024, there's going to be a team out there that's like, all right, I'm a little bit strapped for money, but I can still get Davante Adams, and I don't got to pay him a single dollar in 2024 because the Raiders have already paid his entire contract. So that his value goes up.
Would you rather trade Davante Devontae Adams, your first this year and your first next year, or Devontae Adams, your first this year and your second this year. Because the first next year, if you get a quarterback, might be a higher first round pick. Where the second round pick this year, you know it's going to be at that 30-something range.
Yeah, I mean, again,
if you're the Raiders and they give you that option, they're saying you can either trade us your first and second this year with Devontae, or your first this year and your first next year. Because then also you can't draft any help with that second round pick this year. You have to wait till the third round.
I think, honestly, the way that the team would end up doing it is they probably would move on from the first this year and the first next year. It's probably how they would end up doing it. Because if I'm a new head coach, I at least want to have – I would want my first draft. Like, I would want those building block players. Now, if you, like, look at the board and you're like, you know, there's actually not many players that I like from picks 30 to 50, or, like, maybe there's not that much difference to you, then you might be able to consider it something else. But also, teams often don't give up first and a second, like in the same draft, unless it's for a Devontae Adams. So, it'd be interesting, man. Beatbox, you in. Much love to you guys. Do you think this offseason going to change the next 10 or 20 years to come? That's the hope. The only player that you're drafting that's changing from the next 10 to 20 years is a quarterback. Like, I love Maxx Crosby. If you can get 10 years out of Maxx Crosby, that's great. But even when you have a player like Mad Max and how special he is, the Raiders are still 5-8. You know what I mean? Like, the only way that you're changing, and I mean legitimately changing, like think about the Chiefs before Mahomes. I would say think about the Chargers before Herbert, but they're like the exact same thing, right? Like, think about the Bengals before Joe Burrow. Quarterback is the most important position in the NFL. This is not breaking news to anybody, but the only way you're changing anything for that long of a time is if you find your franchise guy. Aiden O'Connell ain't your franchise guy. Jimmy Garoppolo was never going to be your franchise guy. That's why I got so upset with McDaniels when that's the route that they decided to go. There are franchise quarterbacks in this year's draft. There's franchise quarterbacks in every draft. It's just, can you find them? OC, we need a quarterback. Best for us to maintain a fighting spirit to end the season and draft a top 3 quarterback. My voice is starting to go out a little bit, so.
Raiders!
I do want the Raiders to still maintain that fighting spirit, fighting atmosphere, and anybody that wants Antonio Pierce or Champ Kelly back, like, you shouldn't be saying, I want the Raiders to tank. Because if the Raiders lose their next 4 games, and, I mean, how can you justify hiring Antonio Pierce or Champ Kelly when you win your first 2 games as an interim and then you lose your last 5?
I mean, in that logic, the Raiders should go out and hire Bisaccia over Pierce.
That would be nuts. I still think you're better off hiring Antonio Pierce than Bisaccia, because the only reason why you would have kept Bisaccia is because of his connection with the team at that time. But, like, I mean, what would that be then? What, they would be 2 – they lost to Miami. They have 4 games left. I mean, yeah, you'd be what, 2-7 as an intern? That ain't going to get it done. I don't know how you could possibly keep him. Let's go to Eric Sandoval, quarterback that can rush yards. Been given an advantage all these years on that part. And the more and more that these rules continue to change in the NFL where you can't hit a quarterback, I think it just adds more and more value to a guy who does have mobility.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times this past Sunday where you're just like, Aiden, step up, step up, step up. There's nobody in front of you. And he's not mobile enough. He's not athletic enough to make those plays. And that's why Aiden's not going to be a franchise quarterback. He's not going to be the guy moving forward, because he can't create whenever there's nothing there. You need a guy who can, really just show you something and really just like make something out of nothing. Whenever it's 3rd and 6 and they're bringing a blitz, you need a guy who can step up, run for 7 or 8 yards, and get you that first down. And that's not Aiden. It's never going to be Aiden.
It's never going to be Aiden. And, I was hoping that he would have better eyes, like better vision.
And
it's been brutal.
What we saw from DC, pre-injury, post-injury. Pre-injury, he was getting those first downs. He was able to step up in the pocket and be somewhat elusive and get a first down with his legs. After the injury, No,
Yeah,
he was not able to.
Oh, man.
And young Danny, is there a quarterback you think is worth trading up for? I think Mitch kind of laid out earlier there's 3.
I think there's 3. I think it's Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, Drake May. Now, there's tiers to that to me. Like, to me, Caleb Williams, Drake May are in their own tier, right? Like, they're my 1As. Jaden Daniels right now is like my 1B. And I don't want to fall into a trap of just only watching, like, which this is really important. When you watch a quarterback, you can't only watch highlights. Like, you got to watch full game tape. And honestly, I encourage people to watch the game that people say that was their worst game. Like, sometimes, like, the most valuable tape that you're going to get on a player, it's not the game where Caleb Williams throws for 5 touchdowns, 370 yards. That's actually not the tape that I watch. I watch the tape in a game where Caleb Williams throws 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. Like, what's his body language look like? How does he interact with teammates? What does it look like when it's 3rd and long? When things aren't going your way, because, newsflash, it's going to happen in the NFL. Like, those moments are going to happen way, way more often than things just going your way, right? Like, how do you respond when things get tough? Those are the games that I like to watch for a quarterback. And, you know, I've been doing this, like I said, I've been doing fantasy football, making podcasts consistently since 2017. And I would say my quarterback evaluation has probably been the thing that I've been best at. My QB evaluation has probably been my strongest thing that I've been able to do from a talent evaluation process. And it's because that's one of the things that I love to do. How do they handle a tough game? Those are the 3 guys that I like the most.
Really quick, Mitch, before we get to our next segment, I want
you.
to show some love to the real ones using hashtag Raiders down there.
Yep.
I'm going to pick the 3 or 4 best questions, answer them as you may.
Yep.
Right before this segment. All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
First one from Richard.
All right, Richard, thoughts on Brandon Facyson on playing this weekend? This one, I'm going to kind of keep it simple. It's about damn time. Like, he's been injured. He hasn't been able to get on the field. You've kept him for 14 weeks now. I mean, it's about damn time he gets on the field. And if he wants to prove that he deserves to come back next season, because you can cut him in the offseason, save over, it's like $2 million or something like that. It might even be like $3 million. I made a show on Cut Candidates, talked about Facyson. He's got to be able to prove to the nation in these final 4 weeks that he deserves to be back on this team next season. Why are you out on Michael Penix Jr.? I'm not out on him. I think it's just more of a, I like other guys more. I like Jaden Daniels. And to me, if you're the Raiders, you have an opportunity to get Caleb Williams. You have an opportunity to get Drake May. You have an opportunity to get Jaden Daniels. Those are my top 3 quarterbacks. And then after that, it's Michael Penix Jr., then it's Bo Nix, then it's J.J. McCarthy for me. So, like, but all those quarterbacks, I don't know if I'm drafting. Like, I wouldn't want the Raiders to draft Michael Penix Jr. at number 6. If they want to trade back and target one of those guys in the middle of the first round, if you're also able to pick up another early second, all right, maybe, but I don't view Bo Nix as a first-round quarterback. I don't view J.J. McCarthy as a first-round quarterback. And my gut really tells me that I don't really view Michael Penix Jr. as a first-round quarterback. So I'm not low on him. I just like other guys a lot more. Let's go. Silk made it. Hey, Mitch, can you break down at some point what you see in Drake May? What's a good game to watch of him? Let me go back and look at my notes, and I'll try to give you a better answer. And what I'll end up doing as the season rolls on here is I will do my top players that I want the Raiders to go out and get. Honestly, my favorite tape on Drake May is really not even from this season. It's last season. And the problem with North Carolina's offense this year, and, Roley, who's a North Carolina fan, will tell you, they don't have any guys they don't have a single player on that offense realistically that I think might get drafted.
And they didn't get
last year they did.
They didn't get their wide receiver 1 until halfway through the season. Their best wide receiver was out due to some weird rule.
They're a run for, they were a team that ran the football very heavily. So, I like Drake May's mental makeup, but it's also just the arm talent. His arm talent is as special as it gets. He doesn't get nearly enough credit for it. He can also run. He's a lot more athletic than what he gets credit for. I'll go back, though, and look at some of my notes on, the tape that I really fell in love with Drake May. I'd be more than happy to do it.
Rebel, just a quick answer on this. Defensive delay of game is whenever you either mess with the ball or you mess with the snap count. You're not allowed to,
kick the ball. You're also not allowed to, lay on players. If team's trying to hurry up and you're just sitting there laying on a guy, that's also
you're also not allowed to, pretend like you're the quarterback and like hike. You're not allowed to do that at the line of scrimmage.
If the ref's like trying to get the ball and you like run into him or swat the ball out of his hands, that's a way. There's a bunch of different ways actually. Ron, what's up, my guy? If we don't get a quarterback, what player and position
Worst case scenario.
do you want the most? If we don't get a quarterback,
That's worst case scenario, Ron.
based on the players that I think would be on the board, I'm probably either going to go with one of the offensive tackles, Notre Dame or Penn State, Joe Alt or Olu. I'd probably look at the edge rusher from Alabama, the edge rusher from UCLA, whose name is a nightmare as well, and then the two corners, Kool-Aid and then kid from Clemson. I would say that those are probably my other players that I'd be looking at. Just Nick.
And this will be the last question. I just had to pull this up for you.
Thoughts on Danny Tommy DeVito? It's a hell of a story, man. Like, I'm curious if his agent that they showed yesterday is actually his agent because, you know, we were joking around at the Chat Sports studio today. It literally looked like he went to Party City to dress up as a mob boss, and they were just like, hey, this is my agent. If you dress up like that and you're just like Tommy DeVito's best friend from high school, and yeah, this is my agent, you're like, all right, I believe it. Like, hell of a story. I'm happy for Tommy. I think it's a great story, but also I know Nick's a real one because Danny missed the Tommy DeVito. Let's go to Mo. How the Raiders haven't hired you as the GM, Mitch, I just don't know. And what I always think is funny here is when people rip on Jeremy and I on social media, like, oh, you guys don't know what you're talking about. What's always crazy to me is like, and I get it, people aren't going to watch every episode. People, you know, I don't expect people to watch every episode. There's at times I forget what we're talking about. But this isn't a crazy thing to say, and I think most people that watch the show, if you would have hired what we have said, and if you would have done what we have said over the past 4 years, I mean, this is a no-doubt playoff caliber football team. But then again, it's not really hard to do better than what the Raiders have done from a free agency draft standpoint, and that's why sometimes it's so frustrating when a fan who's not even there can call it out and make it as obvious prediction is sometimes what it needs to be. But Mo, also, you in, and if you don't know what you in for, $5 super chat, you have a chance to win a Raiders Report jersey courtesy of Wild 114. Wild One went wild on Thursday, and he wanted to donate a Raiders Report jersey. So if you want a chance to get in, $5 super chat for one entry, and then if you want a chance to get in and win some money, we are also doing a 50-50 raffle here on Venmo, which actually, we got a few more people that just got entered in. Andrew Gutierrez and Anthony Flores. You both had two extra. Anthony Flores, 2 entries. I said I would add $50 to the pot, which means right now, okay? Right now, it would be at 60 plus 50. So right now, you'd win $110. So right now, as it stands, $10 Venmo, right now to win $110.
Also, Silk, I saw you in the chat. Hope you're feeling better. He said he wasn't feeling well today.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Last week I was sick as a dog, so I feel that.
Silk,
Wild
hope
One,
you get better, brother.
Wild One is a real one. David Zahn, Taino is my dude. Would you want to be a Raider scout?
We already know Raider scout.
Right, that's my guy. I don't know. Like, to be honest with you, I would want to make content more than being a Raider scout. Like, I love the Raiders, and I love being able to, like, if my input was actually used. However, I think I have a louder voice on this YouTube channel. Like, I feel like we, as a nation, have a louder voice than if I were to just go out and be a scout. And again, I would want to know, what does it pay? Like, how much time am I going to be away from my family? How much time am I going to be away from Chuck? Like, those are all very important things to me. Like,
Dan,
if they're offering me $1 million, sure. I just don't think they're paying scouts $1 million.
I don't know if I can agree with you on that. He said, I'd rather have Wasted as GM. He said he didn't think Caleb Williams was good.
I mean, Wasted's a great guy. Like,
yeah, he's a great guy. Just
Wasted's smart.
If you don't think Caleb Williams is a good quarterback,
I think there's a lot more red flags on him than what people like. I think the problem is people just say, and this is more of the Raider fan talking, he's a USC quarterback. People think, oh, you draft Caleb Williams, all your problems are solved. I think that there are more red flags with Caleb Williams than Jaden Daniels and Drake May. But Caleb Williams' upside is the highest.
In his defense, he has seen every quarterback to ever play in the NFL.
That is true.
So that is something he does have over me.
Zahn says we could have drafted Will Levis, and I know like Graf's like really high on Will Levis. I'm still not in the camp that would have been the smartest thing to do. Like, yes, Will Levis had a great comeback yesterday against the Miami Dolphins, but I would rather have Jaden Daniels over Will Levis. I'd rather have Caleb Williams over Will Levis. I'd rather have, like, to me, I'm still not in the camp that Will Levis is a no doubt franchise quarterback.
Jeffrey, if that's true, then my statement even holds more. He said wasted drafted Bo Nix in the first round of his mock draft.
If that's true, then I have a lot of worries. I'll have to talk to my guy that wasted. I hope that's not true.
Oh, I'd sit. Hopefully he traded down. If you're drafting Bo Nix at 6.
Taino Raider, NFL scouts make $55K, not $1 million. Yeah, I'll tell you this right now. I'm not gonna leave doing this to make $55K. That I can promise you.
I'd rather be the GM at a Chili's.
Great food. They do have great food.
At least you get free chicken crispers.
Like again, I think being a scout would be cool, but why am I gonna take a pay cut? I'm saving up for a wedding. I'm saving up for.
Zahn said he's older than wasted, and I just don't see how that's possible. I mean, Zahn, are you Adam? I don't know. I don't see how it's possible.
Holy shit! All right, I do need some water though. So let me.
Gotcha. Juice box guy.
You want me to get it? I can go.
No, I got it. All right.
WaterBoy. WaterBoy. Thank you. All right, also here we got a few more people entering our 50-50 raffle. If you want to get as many entries as you can, like it's not, you can get as many as you want. Anthony Green. Yeah, and I'm almost worried that's Marshall's evil twin brother. And then Salvador Mena. You in. So right now 14 people are in, which means 70, but I'm adding an extra 50, so you'd win 120 right now on Venmo. 10 to win potentially 120. And, if you win, you get the pick. Do you want it all? Or are you gonna spin the dreidel? Yeah, go grab your dreidel. Jeremy's gonna go grab the dreidel here. The final segment here on the Raiders Report is going to be around Thursday Night Football. So my entire idea of today's show was this, okay? My entire idea of today's show was, I know there's a bunch of Raiders fans that are like, Mitch, I want to look at the offseason. I want to talk quarterbacks. So that's why we did mock draft. That's why we kind of did a lot of that. Wow, I couldn't see that. That was right in the light. Yeah, I mean it. I mean, I want you to stand right here. Come here, real quick. And I'm going to throw this missile. I mean, the problem is the light. I literally couldn't see it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I mean, that wasn't that bad at all.
No? Okay.
I feel like it would have been a hate crime if you hit me with this in the face.
Man tosses dreidel at Jew. Hits him in face. Lawsuit. That's hilarious. But we did today's show based on mock draft for people that wanted to watch in the, for people think that it's out. But to me, I'm not ever going to be Team Tank. So coming up next here on the show is going to be Thursday Night Football preview. We're going to talk about some of the top trending topics going into that game. I'm going to give you my predictions, some keys to victory, the way that we always do. Somebody said hate crime. Oh, that's a good spin.
That's a good spin.
I've been practicing.
Wow.
I did. I practiced a lot last night. I said, babe, I got to go spin my dreidel. But hey, always know, if you spin your dreidel, you got to clean your history.
Trust me, you'll thank me later.
Are you a delete history the last hour, 24 hours, or all-time guy?
Oh, I never.
You never delete your history?
Incognito.
On your computer?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, there's no way. I don't think I could do it on my computer anymore. Robert Jansen said giggity. Robert Jansen's a real one. All right, y'all, if you haven't already, click that like button. Coming up next here on the show, we are going to be looking at Thursday Night Football. Here's my next question. If you get snipped, is there a cleanup? Brett, real quick. Coming up next here is our Week 15 matchup. Happy birthday to Brett.
Oh, yeah, it's Brett. Everybody spam HBD. HBD in the chat right now. Brett, my boss and savior. It's his birthday today. Spam HBD in the chat.
Next year's the big one.
Yeah.
Next year's the big
year, he's turning a quarter wasted.
Quarter wasted. Oh, man. I mean, if wasted's Adam, does that make Brett Steve? Coming up, Week 15 breakdown. Also, shout out to everybody spamming HBD
Did
Brett.
you drop my dreidel?
Yep, I did. Luckily, I picked it right up between your legs. So, Thursday night football preview coming up right now here on the Raiders Report. Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report. It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and Thursday night football action this week. We got the 5-8 Chargers going up against the 5-8 Raiders in Las Vegas. For those that do not know, we will be live, and we're going to be having a wild time like we usually do on Thursday night. However, it's going to be a little bit more of like a normal Raiders watch party. So hit that subscribe button, join on in, and guess what? If you're subscribed and you tune into the Raiders Report, you got a chance to win a signed Davante Adams jersey, JSA certified, signed by Davante Adams himself. I'll tell you what, whether you want to watch the Raiders win, lose, I don't care what it is, that's enough reason for you to join the Raiders Report on Thursday. So coming up here on today's show, we're going to be looking at 5 keys to victory for the Silver and Black. And it's not on offense and defense. I'm just going to be laying out 5 keys to victory. And then the biggest Raiders rumors before Thursday night football. Is Josh Jacobs playing? Is Maxx Crosby playing? What's the offensive line going to look like? I'm going to answer all those questions here on the Raiders Report. So my honest question here, and this is where I think I want the nation to answer this one, and I want you to be honest with me because I don't even know why I do this show if you're not going to be honest. I don't know why I even ask these questions if you're not going to be honest with me. Do you want the Raiders to win, or you want them to tank? Do you want the Raiders to win this game and try to make the playoffs? Or are you like, nope, every win that happens from here on out just hurts the Raiders' chances at getting a quarterback? Win or tank? Let me know down below. My answer on this, because I've been asked maybe a million times this week, I will never root for the Raiders to tank. You got players that make way, way too much money to tank. However, this is me being honest with you. I want the Raiders to either win their next 4 games or I want the Raiders to lose their next 4 games, because that's either you win 4, you're in the playoffs. If you lose 4, then you're going to have the highest pick possible to get your franchise quarterback. Don't get me wrong. I would love for the Raiders to beat the Chargers. I'd love for the Raiders to end the Chiefs' hopes. I would love for the Raiders to knock out the Broncos in the playoffs. But I am looking long-term, and I am looking for what's best here for the Raiders. That's how I would answer that question. So next up here on the show is going to be the Raiders' keys to victory against the Los Angeles Chargers. And the very first one is you got to get after Easton Stick. If you're like, who the hell's Easton Stick? It's all the more reason that you got to get after him. He's going to be the starting quarterback for the Chargers potentially for the rest of the year. I also know that Los Angeles on Tuesday signed Max Duggan to the active roster. So who knows? Maybe the Raiders get another backup quarterback bench, and then they end up losing to Max Duggan. We'll see what ends up happening. But to me, you got to pin your ears back. You got to make Easton Stick uncomfortable. The more and more time that you give a bad quarterback, the more that they can look like a normal quarterback. So don't give him the easy reads. Take away the checkdowns. Get up in his face. Make life difficult. Easton Stick is not a good QB, bottom line. Next one here is this. The defense needs to force multiple turnovers. And this one's for 2 reasons. Also, shout out to Robert Spillane, hashtag Pro Bowl vote. But to me, I don't know how the Raiders are going to score. I'm still waiting for the Raiders to score a touchdown. It's been now, 12? You're looking at 15, 16, 17 days since the Raiders have scored a touchdown. And I think that maybe the only way that they're going to find the end zone is if it's a pick 6, maybe a fumble recovered for a touchdown. A shortened field would be something nice. But if the Raiders want to win this game, they need to force multiple turnovers, because if they win the turnover battle, they're going to win this football game, because I don't see the Chargers being good enough offensively to be able to compete with the Raiders if they force multiple turnovers. Next one is this. I want to get the ball in the hands of Davante Adams. Josh Jacobs, whether or not he plays, is not going to be 100% healthy. And Adams was clearly frustrated, as he should be, after the Raiders 3-0 loss to the Minnesota Vikings. And when you look at the way that the Chargers are built defensively, this is a team that likes to get after the quarterback. Do we understand that? We can't have another game where Aiden O'Connell gets sacked 7 times. Like, you need to have a game plan for Khalil Mack. And if Josh Jacobs is hurt, the Chargers this season are the second team, or the second worst team in the NFL, at giving up catches to the running back position. I don't want to target Amir Abdullah. I'm definitely not going to target Brandon Bolden. I don't want to target Zamir White. And if Josh Jacobs is unable to go, well, how about then we use our wide receivers in kind of like a screen game, like set up a short screen to Trey Tucker, let him cook. Set up a short slant route to Jacoby Myers, let him cook. If the Raiders do not target Davante Adams in a game that Josh Jacobs is not 100% healthy at least double-digit times, you don't even let Bo Hardegree back on. Like, you don't let him into the facility. You lock him out Jamal Adams style. It can't happen. Get the ball in Davante's hands. Get the ball into your playmakers' hands. Hell, get the ball in Michael Mayer's hands. Stretch the field on offense. This past week against Minnesota, I was almost wondering if Bo Hardegree just had Josh McDaniels in his ear the entire time, because it was nothing but dinking and dunking. Like, you're not going to beat an NFL team when all your passes are 10 yards, 5 yards. Does Aiden O'Connell need to be better? Of course he does. Aiden was terrible. Hell, I saw a quote that said, if the Raiders would have put Jimmy Garoppolo in the football game this past week against Minnesota, that he could have won this game blindfolded. I don't know if I'm going to go that far of a stretch, because Garoppolo's not good, and I'm sure that some of you are like, Mitch, the Raiders need to put Jimmy Garoppolo in the game. No, you don't. You can't put Jimmy Garoppolo in the game. If Jimmy G gets hurt, and he's hurt to a point where he can't play next year, then his contract becomes fully guaranteed. Anybody that is telling you that the Raiders should put Jimmy Garoppolo in a game, whether it's Chargers, Chiefs, Colts, the only way that that can even be a possibility is if there's a chance to make the playoffs. But, oh, wait, if you win your next 3 games, there's a chance to make the playoffs against the Broncos, you continue to roll with Aiden O'Connell. Anybody that doesn't think that the Raiders are going to move on from Jimmy Garoppolo this offseason doesn't know ball. Or they're just lazy and they're not looking into it. The Raiders are going to make Jimmy Garoppolo a post-June 1st cut. You cannot put Jimmy G on the field for that reason and that reason only. Let's go to the final reason here, the final key to victory for the Silver and Black. You got to stack the box and take away the running game. Austin Eckler isn't 100% healthy, and the Chargers, because they know Eckler is going to be a free agent in the offseason, and because they know that they want to see what they have, maybe in a guy like Josh Kelly or a running back like Spiller, to just see what they have in him a little bit more, they might take it away a little bit, but you do have to stop Austin Eckler. Also, by stacking the box, I want you to take away Keenan Allen, who's been battling an injury. They don't even know if he's going to be able to play. But by stacking the box, putting 8, 9 guys in there, that tells me, like, hey, Easton Stick, you got to beat me deep. You got to try to beat me deep. And with Keenan Allen not 100% healthy, your running back game kind of in question, your offensive line being what it is, this just helps out the Raiders defense play a little bit more. This is going to be an ugly football game. Like, I'm talking, we've watched a lot of ugly games for the Raiders. We've watched a lot of ugly Thursday night games. Lots and lots of ugly. But when I hear ugly football, to me, I think PrizePicks, I think less. And we're going to go a lot more lesses on PrizePicks for this game. That I can guarantee you. But if anybody is like, you know what, Mitch, I don't even care about the Raiders and Chargers game. I'm just here for a little fantasy football advice. I know there's some people out there that do that. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. And make sure that you use code CLNS, which if you're watching this live, you can see it right now in the comments. If you're not watching it live, it's going to be available to you down in the comments and down in the description of today's show. So PrizePicks, they offer a bunch of different deals like all the time. And if you're curious what picks I am going to go with this game, I'm taking Easton Stick less than 201.5 passing yards. Aiden O'Connell less than 209.5 passing yards. Daniel Carlson, give me the more, baby. 1.5 field goals. He's making 2 at least. Keenan Allen, not 100% healthy, less 72.5 passing yards. And then Davante Adams. I'm hoping because Davante was ticked off, they're going to get him the football. So because of that, give me the more on Davante. And if this one doesn't hit, I am not taking more for another Raiders player the rest of the season. Mark my words. So again, easy, exciting, daily fantasy sports made easy. All you got to do is pick 2 or plus players, choose more or less. If my fiance Alex can do it in less than 60 seconds, then I promise you this, you can too. Go get started at PrizePicks.com/CLNS. You're going to get a first-time deposit match up to $100. And whether you want to do the Raiders game, maybe you want to do, there's some Saturday football this week, little Sunday football, a lot of college bowl games coming up. NBA, they have it all. PrizePicks is an absolute game changer. Now, next up here on the show, I got 5 questions around Thursday Night Football. When I think of the burning question segment that I usually do, think of it as burning questions combined with the top trending Raiders rumors that people are going to be wondering when they wake up on Thursday before Thursday Night Football. The first one is, how healthy is Maxx Crosby on a short week? We obviously know that Mad Max has been battling a knee injury. He did say before the Vikings game that it's the most healthy that he's felt in a very long time. But now this is a short week. Was not expected to practice on Monday. Did not practice on Tuesday. I don't anticipate that he practices at all this week. But guess what? As long as that guy's got a pulse, he's going to be out there on the field. 13.5 sacks. Needs to get to 16 to tie the Raiders' single-season record for most sacks in a season. At number 2, this is important for me because it's the fantasy football playoffs. Josh Jacobs, is he going to play? And if he doesn't, what are the Raiders going to do? It was reported by Josina Anderson that the Raiders will not promote anybody from the practice squad at running back. It was also reported that they will not sign a running back, which doesn't surprise me because it's a short week. So if Jacobs was unable to go, Brandon Bolden? No. It's going to be the Zamir White, Amir Abdullah show, which that's an ugly, ugly show to watch. However, Josh is battling a thigh injury, and because he's battling a thigh and not a knee, I am hoping that you're still going to be able to see him out there in some sort of capacity. Even if he's out there, let's say they give 20 touches to the running back. The way I would do that, 10 for Jacobs, 5 for Zamir, 5 for Amir Abdullah. Coming in here at question number 3, will Colton Miller and Andre James play in this game? Miller was unable to go against the Minnesota Vikings, was able to play against the Chiefs, unable to go, though, I want to say against the Jets, and he was unable to go, I know for a fact, against the Miami Dolphins. Andre James, though, your starting center, he left the Sunday's game battling an injury, and if he's unable to go, I anticipate the offensive line that you're going to see for the Silver and Black as follows. It's going to be at left tackle, Thayer Munford, at left guard, Jordan Meredith, at center, Dylan Parham, right guard, Greg Van Roten, and then right tackle, Jermaine Illuminor. That is if both Colton Miller and Andre James are unable to go. Question number 4 entering this game. Tyree Wilson's best game as a pro was last week against Minnesota, and they lined him up predominantly as a defensive tackle. Now, you can move him around the interior line. You can move him onto the outside. I'm okay with it. But right now, the Raiders' best line consists of Maxx Crosby, Tyree Wilson in the middle, Malcolm Kuntz as an edge rusher. And then you rotate your defensive tackles in with John Jenkins, Adam Butler, Bilal Nichols. You figure out a rotation there. But are they going to put Tyree in the interior again? And because he's such a big and strong player, what if that's the route that they decide to use him going forward? That would be very interesting to me. Then the 5th and final question is this. Will the Raiders offense, led by Aiden O'Connell and Bo Hardegree, score this week? I've watched a lot of Raiders football games in my day, and I'm sure y'all have too. Last week was one of the most frustrated I've ever been because I'm like, what more could you ask for from your defense? What more could you potentially be looking for? And the last time we saw Aiden O'Connell play against the Chargers, it was a rough game. 24-39, 238 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception, 7 sacks. Was he pressured the entire game? Yes. However, though, the way that Aiden has played in his last few starts, if he plays that way, it's going to be a way, way worse of a football game. That was the first game he got some playing time and nobody had tape on him. Bo Hardegree, got to be more creative. Aiden, you just got to be better. You're not going to put out Jimmy Garoppolo. You're not going to put out Brian Hoyer on the field. You can't afford to do it. So if you want to prove that you deserve to be in this league, you better get it together because there's a lot of people out there that don't think that Aiden O'Connell is going to be even good enough to be a backup quarterback in the NFL. When I saw the over-under in this, Chugs, I about laughed my ass off. The over-under in this game is 33.5 points. The Raiders are 3-point favorites. 33.5 points. This is the lowest over-under for the Raiders the entire season. and I couldn't confirm whether or not it was the lowest over-under in this season in the NFL. I know it's definitely top 5, though. That I can guarantee you. So since PrizePicks is today's sponsor, they don't usually do over-under type of thing. So we're going to go more or less at 33.5 points scored in this game for the Chargers and the Raiders. So is there going to be more or is there going to be less points scored? My prediction in this one is, believe it or not, and as it stands right now, the Raiders and the games that they have played this season, the average combined points scored in Raiders games this year through the 13 games that they have played is 34 points. With that being said, there's no way in hell I can sit up here and say that it's going to be more. I mean, it is Easton Stick against Aiden O'Connell on a short week. I got to go the less. It's going to be an ugly football game, and I'm hoping that the better defense comes out victorious. Aiden O'Connell, to me, is probably a better quarterback than Easton Stick. It might be up for debate, but the Raiders have a better defense than the Chargers. And I do still think that the Raiders have more to play for. They're playing for their head coach. When Brandon Staley, they know he's going to get fired. All those reasons is why I do think the Raiders win this game. And if they do, you got to still be fighting for the playoffs because you still have a shot. If you win your final 4 games, the Raiders' playoff chances are actually right now, if you win your final 4, at 53%. If they lose one game, they are done. However, Chargers, Chiefs, Broncos, man, I hate losing to division rivals. So hopefully the Raiders come out, they show that they were ready to play, and if they don't win this game, then yeah, you probably got to look at drafting a quarterback in next year's draft. What do you think here, Chugs? Do you want the Raiders to beat the Chargers? Yes.
Oh, I want to
no?
beat it. I want them to beat them hard.
Yeah?
I want them to beat the Chargers so hard.
Wow. How hard?
Like so hard.
I believe it. I hate losing to the Chargers. I think, though, I'm more okay losing to the Chargers with the Easton Stick than Herbert just because not that I can't stand Herbert, but Staley and Herbert drive me nuts. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, the Raiders are obviously going to win this game. The Raiders have struggled against backup quarterbacks. I mean, Tyson Bagent, that was a brutal game. The Raiders have struggled against backup QBs.
Nick Mullins.
Baker
Mayfield.
Oh, man. That was last year was a whirlwind, man.
Oh, love to see it. All right.
Brutal.
Last chance to get in. We got a couple races. We have 3 races we need to do.
We actually have 3 races left here on the Raiders Report. So first what we're going to do is...
I say first we do the Raiders Report jersey.
Raiders Report jersey? Cool. Final chance to get in. $5 super chat for a chance for you to win a Raiders Report jersey. So today I am rocking a Wild 114 jersey. These usually are $500 Venmo. Wild one went wild last Thursday. And he said, you know what, Mitch, it's the holidays. I want to donate a jersey. The easiest way for us to be able to track down who is in. $5 super chat for a chance to win. We're going to do a duck race, so it's going to be a lot of fun. And it's one of the best deals we've ever done here on this show. So I think, though, we do have a few more super chats to get to. Once we get through all the super chats, we will do the first Raiders Report jersey, and then we will do our 50-50 raffle, which is a $10 Venmo. And as it stands right now, you would win $120. $10 Venmo to win $120, or a chance to win a Raiders Report jersey. I would rock your jersey here on the show. If I'm the Raiders, I'm trading up for Caleb Williams. And you have the ability to do that. Alex, my question to you is this. If it was this year's first-round pick, next year's first-round pick, and then the following year's first-round pick, would you do it? Because...
Well, would you?
That's not even enough to me. Like, I think if you were to trade this year's first, 2025, and then 2026 first-round pick, if you're at number 6 to go up to number 1 to get Caleb Williams, like, the Bears are still going to ask for more. Like, you're going to have to throw in a few more picks there. And I think, like, that's the mentality that you need to have. Like, if you're saying, no matter what it takes, I'm going up for Caleb Williams, hey, you can do that. You can do it because it's going to cost a lot. Think about what Carolina gave up at 9 last year. To me, like, that's probably what the Raiders are going to have to give up from 6, just because of how much better this year's draft is at the quarterback spot. OC Raider, you in. Where's my 82 at, Mitch? I don't want to miss the episode when you wear it. It is, I think I actually got ordered today. We ordered a bunch of jerseys today. This is a super embarrassing thing to say, but we were waiting because we ordered hangers and they got lost in the mail and we didn't actually have enough room to hang up a bunch of jerseys. So we put in an order today for, I want to say like 10 different style of jerseys, but I'm pretty sure the OC Raider 82 was ordered today. Rob Fravor, you in. One of the best beards in the game.
All right. So
one of the best beards in the game.
I'm putting all the names in.
But as soon as I get all the new jerseys, as soon as I get them, I wear them first.
Super Chat 5 now or forever hold your pieces.
How many people are in this race?
There are
1, 2, 3, 4.
There are 16.
So 1 out of 16 chance. It would have been fun if it was 14. I'm not going to lie. Oh, wait. Raider X.
There's 17.
I am so mixed feelings on beating Chargers because I want them to be able to go get Jaden Daniels. But even if a top, I could still get him. Can you put that one up on the screen? I can't read it. I got mixed feelings on beating the Chargers because I want them to be able to go get Jaden. But even if top 10, only in draft, could still get him. And I think, like, that's kind of where I'm at as well. If you're okay, it's like the people out there are like, no matter what, you got to try to get a Drake May or Caleb Williams. You should be able to say the exact same thing about Jaden Daniels. That's kind of why I'm in this boat where I don't know if the Raiders are going to win their next 4 games. Maybe they win 1 game. But even if you're at pick 10, it's going to cost a lot less from you to go to 10-4 to get Jaden Daniels compared for you to go to like 6-2. To get another quarterback or 6-1. I mean, it's not even close. If the Raiders are at pick 10, if they're at pick 11, you can still absolutely get Jaden Daniels. Like, there's enough good quarterbacks in this year's class where if the Raiders want a QB bad enough, they'll be able to go out and get him. Mendoza, I was having more fun watching the report on my phone than watching the game live this Sunday. You and me both. I think anybody that enjoyed watching the Raiders lose 3-0 to the Minnesota Vikings in that game, you're a sick individual, bro. Like, a sick individual. We do these shows to have a good time. We do these shows to be able to hang out with the nation. And that's why I want people, when they pull up to a Raiders report, you bring your drinking pants, you get ready to bang a little bit, and let's have a good time. Sergio, in.
All right. 19 people in now.
19 people.
Now or forever hold your pieces.
All right. I say you put the race up. Let's see what it is. I'm actually curious to see what you decided to go with. Little horse race. How many? You got to shuffle it. You got to shuffle it once or twice. All right. Yeah, I'm not really sure what these horses are doing. I was like, do they have 4 legs? Yeah, they do. All right, here we go. Winner gets a Raiders report jersey courtesy of Wild 114. Shout out to Mount Raidermore. You ready? Starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's go! Savior, I want to say right now, has the early lead, but watch out for John Rodriguez. John Rodriguez starting to fall back a little bit. Eric Mendoza at the very top.
Why do some of these actually look like they could be horse names? Your Nightmare coming in the middle. Raider X right behind him. Red Eye Nation down on the bottom. We also got Beatbox 88 up top.
Scott O'Brien, John Rodriguez, Red Eye Nation is here in this race. Everybody spam Wild 114 for this awesome race. Adrian Clark Delgado with the lead, though I really like where OC Raider is at in this race. But wait, watch out here, pulling up. Is it going to be Merjai or is it going to be Savior? He had the lead to start this one. Eric Mendoza, Savior with the win. What a hell of a race. When did he get in? I think he was one of the early ones. Yep, he said this year has been a roller coaster, but again, we shouldn't be surprised. Savior, what I need you to do, you have two options. Either option one, follow Jeremy on Twitter, message him at Jeremy Chugs, or option two, Venmo me $1 at Mitchell Renz 365, and then we can comment to each other. As soon as I comment how to, like, what number you want, all the details, and once I get that, I can send you the $1 back. Those are the two easiest ways to do this. So either send me a $1 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365 or follow Jeremy on Twitter for the info. Easiest ways to do it. And you'll have, I'll give you till the end of the day tomorrow to do that, because I can't always just come tracking people down all the time. What? Oh, that's on me then. All right, here we go. $10 Venmo to get in our 50-50 raffle. You want to do the other one first? All right, we're going to do the other one. So for those that don't know, I had a Raider fan reach out to me last week that said, Mitch, I want to do a Raiders tattoo giveaway. So I posted it on my Instagram. I told all of y'all to go follow my guy, Miguel. And for those that don't know, Miguel, he did, I don't know if I'll be able to roll my sleeve up enough, but he did my prayer hands, and you guys can't really see. I also have like a dove up here tattoo, but these are very important tattoos to me. And he did those, but he's a Raider fan, and he wants to do a free Raiders tattoo giveaway, and he said he'd be able to do it either here in Dallas, Texas, or he'd be able to do it in Los Angeles if somebody lives out there, because he's got a studio in Dallas and he's got a studio out in Los Angeles. So essentially what happened was this. We had, I'm going to say, oh boy, it was like over 300 people probably followed the instructions correctly. Some people had extra entries. And what I did this morning was added it all up, drew names out of a hat, but I drew 4 names because to me, the way that I wanted to do this was I wanted to be able to prove to you that these were the 4 names that I drew and that these were the 4 names that it was going to be between. So I want to make sure that I have it 100%. Where's it in the script? I know I have their full name. So the Instagram names are as followed. Your favorite buddy, who is Johnny Rodriguez. Then there is Anthony MB32, whose first name is Tony. XD Sully, which is Daniel J. Curran. And then Mikey_EM, his name is Michael Martinez. Whoever wins this go-kart race, you are going to get yourself a free Raiders tattoo from my guy Miguel, one of the most respected tattoo artists down here in Dallas, and the guy who does my tattoos now. So if you want a guy who I think does an incredible job, again, he did this. You have a chance to win. I'll be posting this on social media. I don't know if anybody who's watching this live right now is in this tattoo race, but after this race, then what we will end up doing is we will do the final 50-50 raffle race. Sound good? Eric says, damn, I want to get in. Hey, that's why we always tell people, watch Thursday Night Football. We do a lot of stuff like this. And it was on my social media. So you had 5 days to get in. Here we go. Marino said, I commented like 600 times, didn't even make the cut. I mean, you could have commented a million. It wasn't who did it the most. It was, we did a generator, names out of a hat, and this is what we came out with. Good luck. Here we go. Winner gets a free Raiders tattoo. Starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's get this thing going. Out to an early lead. Here is Tony Vallone. Watch out for him. Michael Martinez in there in the number 4 car. Daniel J. Curran. Winner gets a Raiders tattoo. Johnny Rodriguez down there on the bottom. Again, we had over 300 people enter. Multiple ways to do it. And I tell you this, if anybody wants a great tattoo, hit up my guy Miguel on Instagram. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go to my IG at Mitchell Renz 365. give him a follow. One of the most respected artists out there. He's got a tattoo shop in Dallas. He's got a tattoo shop also in Los Angeles. So got a different areas to be able to go get a tattoo. Again, he is on Instagram at Miguel_Palomino. Palomino. I think it might be Tony Vallone. Is Tony Vallone going to get it? Coran, Martinez, or wait, are we going to have a comeback? We are. It is Michael Martinez, the winner. Mikey_EM, Michael Martinez. I will be posting this to my Instagram. Congratulations. You have won yourself a Raiders tattoo. What I need you to do is message Miguel. I will tell Miguel that you are the winner. I'll obviously tag him in this post as well. But you're going to have, we'll give you a week to be able to contact him. That way you can claim your Raiders tattoo. But after that, it's all up to you guys to be able to figure it out and get it done. I can't wait to see how it turns out. Once the tattoo is done, Michael, I want you to send me a picture of it. I know Miguel will, and I want to be able to put it up here on the Raiders part. I think that'd be really cool. So, again, Michael Martinez, Instagram name Mikey_EM. You are the winner of a free Raiders tattoo. All right, here we go. Final race of the day. We've had a lot of races on this show. Name was I literally just had it pulled up. Mikey_EM. Oh, here, I can put it in the chat. Here's the tattoo artist. If you want to give him a follow, if you want to hit him up for a future tattoo, there you go. Carly's, again, you had 1,000 comments. It was random. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, so I posted on Instagram. I said, follow him, follow me, and we're going to do a random drawing, and that's how it was. I'm sorry that you wasted hours on it. I can't help you. You weren't lucky enough. Sometimes when you go to Vegas, you don't always win. Carl, hey, sorry. I don't think it's fair for you to get mad at me. If you want to get mad, you can just get on out of here then. It was random. It's a free tattoo. Somebody's got to win. I know. Pretty childish. Is what it is, man. Pretty childish. All right, here we go. Winner has a chance now. $10 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365. We actually got a few more entries in this one, Jeremy. It looks like Eric Mendoza is going to get another shot. And then Michael Robinson has a shot. So right now, why? Yeah. All right, that's the list right now. Luis Rodriguez, Nico Laz, Eric Ferreira, Thomas Henahan, Jeffrey Kreischer, Sergio Torres, Adriano Martinez, Allen, Eric Mendoza, Savior. You're the winner of the Raiders Report jersey. So, again, message Jeremy on Twitter at Jeremy Chugs or Venmo me right now $1. That way we can get all the logistics solved. Once we get all the logistics solved, I'll just send you the $1 back. But the only way that you and I can comment to each other is if you send me $1.
Carly's, it was every comment is an entry. You had a bunch of entries, and it wasn't selected. I'm sorry. It was not just whoever has the most entries wins.
I mean, these people could have put in one entry. They just got picked. I don't know what you want me to do. So right now, it is Sergio, Adriano, Allen, Eric Mendoza, Andrew Gutierrez, Anthony Flores, Anthony Green, Salvador Mena, Eric Mendoza, Michael Robinson. So 18 people are in, which means 90. I said I'm going to add an extra 50. So right now, winner gets $140. Is that how that math works? $140 to the winner. Final call to get in. 10 to win 140. I am ready. 10 to win 140. Good luck to everybody. Carly, if you're in this race, good luck to you. Oh, dude, the Greyhound. Let's go. The Greyhound is great. John Tinsley says, chug a beer. The only way I'm chugging a beer on today's show is if we bang. If somebody wants to bang on this show, I'll chug a beer. Wait, Lucas. We got an extra one. Lucas Farrell, if I pronounce that right, you in. So right now, winner gets 145. John Rodriguez, Mitch, am I in the 50-50? John, I do not see you in the 50-50. Yeah, you were in the Jersey race, but I can't send you money on YouTube. Like, I can only send you money on Venmo. So if you want to get in the race, it's a $10 Venmo, John. I need to have your Venmo to send you money. That's why we do it on Venmo. Rebel Montana, save the bang for Thursday. I feel like usually people want to save it for game day, and honestly, I don't blame anybody for wanting to save it for game day. All right, so now we got 19 people in. Winner gets 145. Final call, final refresh. If you send in anything after that, it is just we'll put it towards next week or on Thursday. All right, Jeremy, I don't got anything else here. Here we go. Winner of this gets $145. Good luck to everybody out there. Starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's get it going. Winner gets $145. The real question is, whoever wins, are you going to spin the dreidel to risk it all? We'll see. Lucas, right now, who was the last one to get in, and right now has got a lead. Also, Salvador, I just saw your Venmo roll in. We'll talk after the show. That's awesome. Eric Ferreira at the top. Eric Mendoza, Jeffrey Kreischer, all here in a very interesting spot. We got every single dog in this race. However, I'm going to be honest, I'm rooting for Sergio because he's the one that looks the most like Chuck. Or also, Thomas He in the back. Watch out for Thomas He in the back. He also looks like Chuck. Jeffrey Kreischer, he's starting to fall back a little bit, maybe cramping up a little bit. Sergio Torres, Eric Mendoza, Michael Robinson, the former Penn State quarterback. This is going to come down to the wire. Anthony Green. Anthony Green sees a tree out in front of him, and he's going to come away with a dub. Lucky number 13. Anthony Green, I need you to confirm with me down below. Well, actually, Anthony, do you want to risk it with the dreidel? So, Jugs, this is where I need you. So, Anthony, if you're watching right now, here's the game. And we did it yesterday, and they ended up still winning the amount. So, right now, Anthony, you can go home with $145. Or, Jeremy, explain the rules.
Or you can risk it with the dreidel. So basically, if it lands on the blue, the Gimmel,
That's what you want.
you'll get the entire pot. We will walk away with nothing. It'll be a 100 raffle for you.
So that would be, so the way that this one, since I added an extra 50, I just want to get the math right. So we had 19 people at 10, 190 plus 50, 240. Is that math right?
Yes.
I mean, yeah, it is. 240 to go home with.
If it lands on this, the hay, that means nothing happens. You just walk away with the 145.
You'd walk away with 145.
If it lands on the shin, you walk away with 25%.
So that would be,
So instead of the 145, you'd walk away with 90
okay.
if it lands on the shin. Or if it lands on this, you just get your money back.
You get $10 back. I'll let you decide, Anthony. And if I don't get an answer from you, I'm just going to send you the 145. I will give you 60 seconds. What should he do? Should he risk it? Y for yes and for no.
No. Deal or no deal?
Deal or no deal? Deal or no deal? Anthony Green says, I'll take the 145.
Okay, wait. Before he does that, we have to see.
I was going to say, we got to see what it would have been.
We got to see what would have happened if Anthony would have risked it all.
All right, Anthony, if you would have risked it all, what would it have landed on? Oh, that's a good spin. You can tell Jeremy practiced spinning that dreidel of his last night. Oh!
You would have walked away with it all, Anthony! Oh,
I mean, if this proves anything,
wow, Anthony.
you should have risked it for the biscuit. Oh.
Anthony.
Oh.
He said crap.
I know.
So basically, we're playing dreidel at the end of the 50-50. So if it lands on this, they get the entire pot. If it lands on this one, it's the normal. If it lands on this one,
Son of
they
a
get
gun.
25% of the pot.
Still won
If it lands on this one, they get
145.
their money back.
Still won
Anthony
145
decided not
bucks.
to play.
Anthony, can you just confirm that you got your 145 for me, please?
Anthony decided not to play, and just like in Deal or No Deal, we still roll it to see what would have happened. He would have won the entire pot.
Oh, dude, I'll tell you what, electric.
250.
Absolutely electric.
Oh. Wow. Rebel says the audience is shocked.
I am shocked. Everybody is shocked. Anthony, can you confirm in the chat, since
It's
you're
like-
in there, that you got
I feel like he made a
145?
deal, but he had the $1 million briefcase. They're like, Anthony, we got to
yeah.
see what your briefcase is.
Yes, I did. Thanks. Awesome, Anthony. Thanks for playing, man. We appreciate it. Appreciate everyone for always tuning in. We have a lot of fun on the show.
Tadashi said, no way. If he risked it, it would have turned out different.
You didn't see Jeremy blowing on at the very end?
This is a loaded dreidel.
A loaded dreidel. Savior, awesome. Happy that I won my race.
I'm not even shitting you. I just rolled it again.
Dude. Wild. Wild stuff. All right, y'all.
Wow.
Jeremy and I are going to get out of here. Remember, tune in Thursday night for Raiders, Chargers, Thursday Night Football. We get wild. We are also giving away, a signed Devontae Adams jersey, JSA certified.
Bueno said it's a weighted dreidel.
JSA certified. I will say this. You've spun it 3 times. It's been Gimmel twice. And then whatever the one is, they get your money back.
Yeah.
Just saying. Maybe we'll have more luck Thursday. Though I'm not gonna lie, I'd be pissed.
Dude, okay, I'm not gonna touch it. Hands up, right? I just span it again.
Is
You
it
can't make
Gimmel?
this. You can't make it up.
It's Gimmel. All right, hang on. I gotta
Can't
set.
make it up.
Here, give me camera. I don't want. Here, give me the camera. If this is Gimmel, we might have to do another one. All right.
Okay.
Let's say we got to get out of here. We got to get out of here. All right, tune in Thursday night for a chance to win a Devontae Adams signed jersey by Tay himself. If the Raiders win, their playoff chances stay alive. If they lose, their playoff chances are doomed. No matter what, we will be live. We're going to be having a good time on Thursday. And Jeremy and I are actually going to be live on Friday as well. So it's going to be a short live. We actually have our holiday party here at Chat Sports on Friday.
Dude.
You got to stop.
Hands
3
up.
in a row? 3 in a row. That's nuts.
Maybe it is weighted.
Maybe it is.
I don't know.
But we will be live on Friday morning. But again, we have our holiday party. So Jeremy and I actually have to be out of the studio, like here at work. We have to be out of here by 1 o'clock. That way we can get ready for our holiday party. Boss's rules. So like our live show on Friday is going to be early, probably like 10 o'clock. So just kind of like be on the lookout for that. It might maybe like 11. We'll figure it out. And then we're going to be off on Saturday. And then I'll be back on Sunday. I might not have Jeremy as my producer on Sunday just because of the way my schedule ends up working out in his schedule. But we're going to be live on Thursday. We're going to be live on Friday. And then we're going to be live again on Sunday here on the Raiders Report. So until then, Enjoy the rest of your night, and if I've learned anything, go Gimmel.